We will now introduce our contestants one by one. First, we will introduce, going from left to right, the one they call Anavoir!
Fuck, why do I have to be first? Oh. Okay, hi. I'm Anavoir. I'm in my master's program for clinical psychology, and I like politics.
And do you believe you will defeat each and every person here and leave them, metaphorically, in a video game, blood splattered against the wall, completely defeated?
No, probably not.
Charmhole!
My con, thank you so much. First off, it's a hype train. Let's get it rolling. You got primes, drop them. You got money, drop them. Give them to your Sultan, give them to your Haas.
Everybody, hold on.
We're here.
Everyone declare your political views also. Anavoir, go.
I'm lefty. Left. Yeah.
Charmhole!
I'm an anarchic gamer.
Chris VT!
Hi everyone, my name is Christopher Halali. Was the first communist on the ballot to run in any election since the 1990s. I garnered 1% of the vote for Congress as a Marxist-Leninist and made history with that. I'm a Marxist-Leninist, proud communist, happy to be here with you all.
Thank you so much, Anonymous. Appreciate the 20. Thank you so much. Moving on. Dario!
Hello, everyone. I'm Dario, and I guess for the purposes looking at the cast of this panel, I guess I might be more centristy, and hopefully we can have some interesting discussions and not just yelling matches. But I'm not keeping my hopes up.
Eris Ann!
Hi, I'm Eris, and I'm a satellite control operations engineer, and I'm probably left.
Boring. Next, I am the con. One of the 3 cons, or 4 cons, we will be judging. I need no introduction. Henry is another judge. Many of you already know who he is, but for those who do not.
I'm Henry, and I'm going to be deciding who's the kings here and who's the losers. I expect the utmost, the highest, and the most refined of blood sports tonight. Make me proud.
Jackson Hinkle. Johnny Cage.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? I'm here to take dubs and dubs only, and I am a communist.
Pesto Mime, the weirdest man in the infrared community, by far. Speak! We are experiencing technical difficulties. What? Does Pesto Mime have a mic?
Didn't know.
Speak! We cannot hear a fucking thing you are saying. This is unprecedented. He's gone.
Is it now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Oh man, I plugged in this Blue Yeti microphone, but I didn't pay for it, so that's what I get.
Cam up.
I'm trying. Is it okay?
Introduce thyself.
My name is Bay Area.
No, stop! You can't do that.
Oh, my name is Pesto Mime, and my politics are The Lyndon LaRouche collected works.
Great. Another infrared showrunner behind the scenes. He will also be judging today. Many of you have met him. For those who have not, your mic's not working.
I'm Luca. I'm looking forward to seeing which of you are worthy of joining our horde, because our horde is unstoppable, cannot be stopped. So let's see which one of you are worthy of joining our train and marching to victory. Let's go. Let's see it.
Yankee Tanky.
I am part of the Center for Political Innovation and the John Brown Volunteers. I am a 21st century socialist, and I believe I'm going to wreck each and every one of you.
Yes.
Yo, I'm Yas, also known as Yeah Right. My politics are basically hood socialists.
Interesting. And last, but not least, the most feared man in the entire Levant region. He has debated and defeated countless streamers, including Sansol, who to this day cannot recover from the L they were given. Although, coming from Tel Aviv, Israel, Sultan!
Of course, what you just said was not true, but I need no introduction. I've won countless times and I intend on winning this time. The only thing that might stop me is the electricity, but even then, I will still represent the RTSV in a good light. Everyone knows my worth.
Okay, now that everyone has introduced themselves, let us not spare any time in going right into the topics. Now, this came unexpectedly, and we did not know this was going to happen. But the court's verdict has just been released and has come out. And as it happens, Kyle Rittenhouse has been found not guilty. The question is, how should the American people feel about this? How should they respond? And regardless of the court's decision, should the American people find Rittenhouse guilty or not guilty? Take it away!
I mean, look, I'll be honest. I think everybody knew he was gonna walk, right? Everybody, like, this is what the U.S. does. This is how it works, right? Like, the guy went gamer mode IRL, and he walked away, and he walked free. It's not a surprise. Me personally, I think if you live by the state, you die by the state. I think they should have sought the death penalty. They didn't. Because of course he was going to walk, because the entire system is made to make little Kyles like this who go around, and apparently Wisconsin's okay with not having a death penalty, but they're apparently pro mass shooting now. It's very strange to me. I don't get it, but I guess it is liberty over the state. I don't know, but fuck Kyle, fuck anybody who's pro Kyle, because it's just going to happen again. It's going to happen more often.
Yeah, I don't really think that's a good description of what happened at the events, but that's not really surprising. Obviously, he was gonna walk. Everybody here, if you think anything else, you're delusional. Obviously, what he did and what happened there was tragic, but that doesn't change the fact that, given the circumstances, he acted in self-defense, and it was obvious to anybody who followed the trial or even watched the videos. And I think putting blame on Kyle as an individual, or saying, oh yeah, he should have had the death penalty, or he shouldn't have, he should have been convicted, gone to prison, experienced bad things in prison. I think you're delusional, and you probably need to go outside and talk to more normal people.
I think he should have been put behind bars because he was a 4chan user, and I don't really like them. That's my personal opinion.
Wow. What a
I think
dramatic
like
take
him or
from
not,
Sultan.
hey, like him or not, regardless of what you think of him, regardless of whether you think it was smart of him to show up with a gun or even be there in the first place, it was his right to do so, right? Regardless of whether you like it or not. The jury, who was exposed to all of the information surrounding the case, which you weren't, ruled that it was in self-defense. So if you don't have an argument other than you just don't like him, I don't see why you should be able to say even that you think he should be behind bars.
It's fucking,
No, I
fucking
agree.
insane. Are you kidding me? He needs to be
Okay, so
behind
what's
bars for
insane?
life
What's
and
insane?
his
Because
family.
that's a subjective opinion. You're not actually giving any sort of substantive evidence as to why he should be behind bars.
Okay, so like we're trying to say now, then unequivocally, like if you are pro Kyle, right? In this instance, you're saying
Wait,
anytime,
one sec.
any moment, you
One
got
sec.
a gun. You're upset.
Hold on.
Somebody
Shut up.
else.
Shut up. Luca, can you rotate your camera? Sideways? No, turn it sideways. Perfect. Continue.
Oh yes, thank you, Khan. My apologies for talking over you. No, how could anybody? I really don't understand it. I really don't get how people are pro Kyle here. Like the guy is a
being pro
murderer.
Kyle. Wait, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay, to be like, oh yeah, no, I'm glad he walked. Right? If you're like, I'm glad he got away. He literally got away with murder.
It's not about
Killing people.
wait,
That's pro
he
Kyle.
literally, well, he literally didn't get away with murder. The trial was very clear. He was cleared of all the murder charges, all the homicide charges. It was like he was defending himself in this situation. Now you can say, hey, the situation was fucked up. The situation shouldn't have happened. He shouldn't have been there. There shouldn't have been like the riots and all these things. But like given the situation and given the verdict of the jury, the judges, like every reasonable person who watched the trial, it was very clear like this was always going to happen. It wasn't a murder. It was a fucking kid with a gun.
Okay. There's something here everybody misunderstands, and it's a phrase called passive violence. Okay? Now I want you to understand what passive violence is. If you're in public with an assault rifle and somebody sees you, they are passively being violent towards you. Okay? You understand this? This passive violence is an immediate
Right.
threat.
So are people that
Okay?
are in the military passively aggressive
Yes.
towards each other by that logic?
Yes, especially, yes.
That's just
And they should
so
all go to
dumb.
prison? Like, what is
Yes.
people go outside with guns and they should go to prison? What is this?
You're looking at this the wrong way, bro. You're looking at this
because
the
they were
absolutely wrong way.
aggressive.
We
That
need to
is
start.
so
This is what the verdict taught us is that now that conservatives are doing bringing guns to protests, like leftists should be pulling up with like grenade launchers to like pro-abortion.
Hey!
What the fuck is you talking about?
Hey! We don't. No. Rein that back. Remember the rules. Do not violate TOS.
We should just be able to just act upon the way that we want to.
No, what I'm saying, first of all, the basis of the question that Haas asked was how should the American public respond? Right? Do you agree with the jury? Are you going to respect the will of the jury and the legal system or not?
Wait, we have to the rules. We have to respect the legal. But how should you feel? What should you say about it? How should the American people feel? Should they be protesting this decision?
Yes,
Yeah,
etc.
the Constitution's a living document. Like the justice system, it's not like gravity, right? It's not like light. Like we can make it what we want to make it, and it's pretty clear that a lot of Americans are pro Kyle here. Like they're pro showing up at a protest with an assault rifle, and if somebody fucks around,
Is anybody here pro showing up at a protest with an AR-15? Can we have a raise of hands? Is anybody pro that? Like, who are you talking to, dude? Like, do you just want to create?
Everybody.
Like, are you just trying to create content? Like, is that your actual opinion?
Oh yeah, sorry for trying to create content.
No, I'm just asking because I don't want to argue against a straw man. Like, I don't want to argue against a straw man. Is this your actual opinion, or are you just like trying to create?
Yes, of course it is. Yes, no, absolutely. Look, I've
Say.
been anti-gun culture for fucking years now, and this is at the heart of gun culture in America. This is at the fucking heart. The fucking heart of gun
Guns are
culture
nice, though.
is
Guns
you
are
get a
nice,
gun,
like-
you go in
So if
public,
there's one
you're a
thing,
fucking hero
there's
without
one
doing
thing that
anything.
guns are
Unless
good
you're
for, is when you are morally,
have you
when you are
ever been
morally
to a
justified to
shooting range?
enact self-defense, you should be able to do so.
Have you ever been to a shooting range? It's like
No,
really
fuck
fun.
no.
I like
Why would I
guns.
want to put myself in possible danger? Why would I want to go somewhere where lead is
Be
moving through
endangered to
the
go
air
shooting.
at a
What are
velocity
you
that'll
talking
kill
about,
me?
bro?
It's
Like what?
literally fun.
What?
It's literally fun. It's
Yeah, of
literally
course
fun.
it
Like,
is.
Can
Yeah,
I
no, I
go
look, I
out
play
to,
games all the time
like
with
go
guns. Hell yeah.
outside
Bro,
because the car could
Of course it's
shooting
fun.
easily.
guns is fun, bro.
Driving at 200 miles per hour is also fun, but should you do it? Probably.
you should, because you only live
You're at a
once.
drive.
YOLO.
I mean, if there's a
YOLO.
test track, you might
You're
as
doing
well. Bro.
Formula One, or you're at a like test course or something. Yeah.
Hold
of course
on,
you
we
should.
have a hold
Why
on.
not?
We have a surprise guest. Holy shit, he came out of nowhere. The critically thinking veteran. One of the few conservative and right-wing perspectives. Critically thinking veteran. Would you like to introduce yourself? Hello.
Yeah, how you doing, Haas?
How are you?
Doing fine, man. Doing fine. Getting my OBS changed around here so I can turn the camera on. All you fine folks can see my handsome face.
All
missed it.
right. Now we've got a curveball at the cast.
More like
You sound
cringe
so
thinking veteran.
stereotypically American. I swear to God.
Is that like the best? Is that like literally the best you got? You sat there and thought for like 10
No.
seconds, and that was the best you came up with.
That's
All
at
right.
level
Try
one.
again.
That's at level 1. There's 10 levels. Just you wait.
Introduce
More is
yourself
coming.
to the cast.
I am critically thinking veteran, the conservative main boss here in Twitch politics. I enjoy having, casual conversations with everybody if you're willing to have a casual conversation. But what I have found in my experience here in Twitch politics over the last years, that every time you end up on a panel, especially the one that I find myself walking into, it ends up turning into a shit show. So, right? That's the only thing that I can assume that we're about to see, but you will see my energy kind of lead the room. So if everybody stays calm, I'll probably stay calm. But as soon as somebody starts getting a little excited, well, my God, that just entertains the fuck out of me, and I want to be a part of it. So let's fucking go. All right.
Let's
All right.
go!
The topic
what
that
the
we started
fuck are
out
you
with
saying?
is around the events of the recent court ruling, finding Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty. The question is, how should the American people find Kyle Rittenhouse after the court ruling? Should they find him guilty or not guilty?
Wait, so you think that the court of public opinion matters in this one?
Do not debate the host. Debate amongst ourselves.
Right. Does anybody else think that the court of public opinion actually matters whenever the verdict comes back from the jury that he was not guilty? Does anybody else think that matters?
I think it matters. It doesn't.
Yeah,
doesn't
no, I'm
matter.
definitely
we can
not
still
mad.
discuss how we
It doesn't
feel
matter.
about it.
It doesn't matter.
When you all talk at the same time, it makes a beautiful, beautiful sound. It sounds like this. Did that make any sense? Didn't make
Yeah, actually, that's really
Yeah,
good.
so
That-
I'll tell you what.
Sounded a lot like what Charmhole was saying earlier.
Hey,
First one-
it's-
First one to raise your hand, go.
boom. Look, it sounds to me like we've got court of public opinion. Like, what does this mean? Of course I'm mad. Like, of course. Like, Wisconsin basically just legalized mass shootings, right? Like, they're just like saying, like, yeah, if you go out with an assault rifle, somebody can fuck around and then they get to find out. And then you get to walk free. You get to murder for free. And if you're a kid, even better, because then the judge will be like, oh, you poor little baby boy. Oh, you watch too much Batman. I know. You poor
Like a
little
true
baby.
person who didn't watch a single second of the entire trial, dude. Seriously.
No, if you want to talk about everybody talking over, like, you can't understand a fucking word you're saying, then you're talking about the prosecution, because they dropped the ball like crazy. Like, if you
What would you have done? Wait, what would you have done differently?
acted more like the Derek Chauvin prosecution, like, holy shit, like
what?
painted the
Can you
kid
give
like an
one
evil little Nazi shit, like he fucking is. Like,
Wait, Wait, can you give one example that they should have done differently? Like one specific thing that.
I mean, honestly, I don't know if he could have, because it sounds like his balls were in a vice grip by that judge. So who knows? If he did try to go harder at the kid, maybe the judge just would have thrown out the whole fucking case.
What is one piece of evidence that would have changed their minds?
One piece of evidence that
that would have changed the jury's minds, or like changed the judge.
Probably nothing. Like the kind of people who go to jury, like the American justice system.
You would have done anything different, is what you're saying.
Yo,
Wait, so
that
there was nothing to
conservative
do,
guy,
bro.
the conservative guy. Why do you have
You
a
get
bowl
mad.
cut? Why do you have a bowl cut?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't actually have a bowl cut. All it is in the last year I've been here, since you asked, right? The last year I've been here on
Let's stay on topic.
I gotta ask the question. Jesus Christ! I gotta ask the question. If you don't want to know the answer to the question,
Okay, answer the
question.
question. Talk about me.
And this is how we end up completely off topic because people don't know how to stay on topic. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Why? What's the holdup?
Now, here's the answer to the question, right? So this last year, I find myself going on a personal journey of healing from PTSD from my past and letting go, like, of a lot of shit. And one of those was me keeping my hair real fucking short. So my hair is long because I just don't give a fuck anymore. How's that?
What about the man?
So, Sultan, what is the point of your question? What does that have to do with the topic? Sultan, what is the point of your question?
No, I'm just pointing it out. I was contemplating the nice faces that I have in front of me.
Yeah, no one cares.
True,
So,
you're pretty.
Charmel. So
Yes.
far, I've asked the question because you've said that you disagree with the outcome, and you know you want to protest potentially, whether like on a stream or wherever, against the outcome of the trial.
Absolutely.
We've heard a lot from you. You haven't given like any actual answer other than like an emotional response as to why you disagree with the outcome. So anyone else want to chime in on whether or not they disagree or agree with the outcome?
I accept your submission. Thank you.
There's one thing that I think is insanely cringe. It's fucking politicians. Did anybody see Bill de Blasio go on Twitter and be like, "This is a miscarriage of justice"?
Fuck Bill de Blasio. I literally live in New York City. I live in New York City, bro. My life every day is painful waking up to fucking Bill de Blasio. He banned fucking vapes. I see you vape right now. I can't vape because motherfucker banned vapes, bro. So it's terrible. Terrible.
Sounds like you need to fix your fucking government. I don't know what to tell you.
No, you can't, bro. You can't vote that change out. They're all gonna suck ass.
You got de Blasio. Fucking New York. Oh, New York. New York City, my fucking massive.
That wasn't very funny. I'm sorry.
Gross open air prison that is New York City. Yeah, we're so sorry. You guys can't contribute to more smoke.
Stay on topic.
So, yes, I'm so confused. I don't know how we go from like Charmo having the worst fucking take that I think I've ever fucking heard to him saying something that I agree with. I'm so fucking confused right now. Because, like, New York really is kind of like
Listen, the gladiators in the arena aren't supposed to stop and start sucking each other off. It's a bloody battle to the death. Continue.
Yeah.
And I'm winning.
So sit there and spectate, Emperor. How's that?
Oh, look at Kitty.
So, look, the Rittenhouse thing, Charmhole, I don't even know how you can sit there and say the dumb shit that you said a minute ago.
I'm a gamer. That's how.
Yeah, but it's
I
all
play
dumb
games.
shit. I play games too. You want to go 1v1 with Halo Infinite? You don't want to fucking go. You don't want to go.
Stay on topic. We are focusing on the verdict. Finding Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty. Stay on topic.
I mean, what else is there to say? Everybody disagrees with me, and I'm right. So fuck all y'all.
You know what the worst
Except
part
you're
is?
not. There's no evidence to support anything that you're saying, which makes it a complete fallacy.
Guys,
and you're living in a fucking fantasy world because that's Charmo, right? Like, what are you gonna do?
Found that the state propaganda was based and red-pilled. Yeah, wow, big surprise.
If you were an actual gamer, you would stand in solidarity with Kyle. Did you see on the stand? He was criticized. He was attacked for playing Call of Duty, bro. Listen, you're a fake gamer. You're a fake gamer. You don't stand behind Kyle and his ridiculous attacks on him being a gamer.
There's two different types of gamers, all right?
Charmo, shut the fuck up and stay on topic. Shut, Charmo, shut. Don't make me mute you, Charmo. Shut up about video games. I don't even know what you mean by that. We're focusing on the verdict, finding Kyle Rittenhouse not guilty. Anavoir, you have been suspiciously quiet. What is your view?
I guess I have kind of a nuanced view on it. I think that Kyle's actions were incredibly reckless, and he was definitely looking for trouble. I don't really buy into the whole like he was just trying to defend property. I mean, I'm sorry, but like if you go to a protest with an AR, I mean, that does kind of seem threatening, and it does seem to be provoking and like antagonistic. But also at the same time, I mean, he did technically defend himself, so I don't know. I don't like him.
Rioters
But
also had guns, right? I mean, everybody was fucking armed to the teeth, it seems.
Yeah.
People shot at Kyle.
Yeah.
Right?
Wouldn't you say, Anna, though, that if he was ruled as acting in self-defense, that regardless of whether you think it was a smart idea for him to come to the protest with a gun, regardless of whether you think that's what provoked the initial guy to run after him, that gun allowed him to act in self-defense and potentially save his life?
I mean, yeah. I think it was a bit of an overkill, though, since I mean the one guy was like just had like a skateboard or something. But I mean, yeah. Ultimately, he did act in self-defense legally.
Wait, if somebody comes at you, attacks you with a skateboard, like that can knock you out, right? I mean, like
That can kill you.
And then
That
you
is
can
a
get
deadly
taken to a
weapon.
second location. Oh no, yeah, all right, and
wait, if people are coming after you with fucking like threatening to knock
because
you
you're
out,
a passive threat, like I said earlier, a passive threat. You are a passive piece of violence because you have the ability to magically put
Mansplaining. Stop mansplaining me.
into
Stop
people's head.
mansplaining me.
dude, your argument is
Stop
just if you have a
mansplaining me.
gun outside, you're a passive threat, then you should go to prison.
Yes,
Like that's just your
absolutely.
argument. But that is
If you see
that
a
is
cop on the
nothing
street,
to
he's
do-
a passive threat. Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
but you're living in fantasy land. That's nothing to do with America or this case. Like these are just not the facts on the ground or the
Yeah,
country that
okay.
we're
My
talking
reality
I
is
mean, you
my
can just
own.
back
Go
up
fuck
into an
yourself.
argument about how you want all guns taken off the streets.
Yeah.
At that point, you're not arguing the point.
Now, I'll say this. I'll
If
say
that's
this,
what you
right?
want, go to fucking
Charmhole,
Sweden or something.
what Charmhole's trying to say, right, is at its core factually true, right? If you are armed and you're showing that you're armed, right, it is a passive threat. But the fact of the matter is that Charmhole is so sensitive that as soon as he sees somebody with a weapon, he automatically has a reaction and becomes triggered. So that right there is a personal issue. Go get yourself a fucking tissue because nobody gives a fuck.
Oh, well, that's a lot of hot talk coming from somebody with PTSD, probably from active warfare, right? Oh, no, I killed some brown people.
Hey,
of course,
rein it in, Charmhole.
I'm scared.
Rein
I'm
it in.
terrified.
Charmhole, can I ask you something?
Rein
Charmhole,
it
can I
in.
ask you something?
You're being a
Can I ask
passive
you
threat to
something,
this
Charmhole?
stream. I'm gonna need you to shut up.
Charmhole.
Yeah,
Charmhole,
right?
Can I ask you, how long have you been on Reddit?
Good one. Anyway, when somebody in my line of sight, if I can see
Rein it
somebody
in.
with a trigger,
Rein
who can
it in,
shoot,
Charmhole.
It's his legal right though to have that gun. It's
I'm
his
sorry.
legal
God,
right
my
to have the gun.
muscles
So are
are
you
so
saying that you don't
big.
want people to have the legal right to have a gun?
Listen, it doesn't even matter if it's his legal right to have the gun, right? We can even say, well, morally, even morally, he should be able to defend himself in a situation like that, right? I mean, he isn't doing anything wrong by just like being with his gun at a protest necessarily, like depending on the situation and the country, everything he's in, right? So morally, like you should be able to defend yourself, and the only reason why he could defend himself in that situation is because he had a gun, right? If he didn't have a gun in that situation, he would probably be maybe dead at this point. Like who knows?
or he wouldn't have been attacked in the first place.
I gotta say, I ran for Congress.
You don't know.
I ran for Congress as a communist, and I was very pro Second Amendment. I'm a member of the NRA. I posted, I was the only one rated A+ by Gun Rights of Vermont, along with the Republican candidate. Everybody else, every other candidate was like a fail. I gotta say that I think that absolutely it's everybody's right to bear arms. I think that some people live in states behind enemy lines. In Vermont, this gun culture is very common. I see guns everywhere, and nobody feels threatened. It's normal. So that's because there's no looting. There's no rioting. Everybody, I live in farm country. I got a big farm here. Everybody has guns. It's hunting season. Everybody respects each other. I think that what he did was reckless, adventurous, a provocation. But I think that ultimately, I think in that situation, I mean, look, there was a lot of violence on those streets. You know, was it self-defense? Yeah, the jury found it to be self-defense. Bigger problem is this all part of a big game at like a new Gladio, a Gladio inside? You know, is this our years of lead? This is what I've been saying since the January 6th and last year. I think that's the crux. That's the deeper thing. Is the deep state really fomenting this stuff? So we all end up killing each other. Hey, the gun industry is making a fucking fortune, and all of us are killing each other.
What is happening?
Hey, they did it to
Actually,
Italy.
no, I agree.
They did
Chris
it to
is
Italy.
right.
They did it to Greece. They did it. Yeah, of course.
True.
Fomenting far right and far left to kill each other while everybody else is sitting back and relaxing. You don't
Absolutely.
think that's
As a
true? They don't do
person,
it to
as
every
a
other
person
fucking
who
country.
This is
only
what we
Come on.
needed.
Come on.
No,
As
we
a
want, but
person who
classy.
only
Yeah,
got
Chris, you make
1% of the vote, as a person who only got 1% of the vote, I don't think your opinion matters.
And
Yeah,
you know
so
what?
Chris,
More than you
Chris,
got.
Chris, you make an
More than you
excellent
got,
point.
baby.
Chris, you make an excellent point, right? That right there is what brings us to the climate of what led up to the events in Kenosha, right? We've got riots and protests and the burning of federal buildings and businesses and everything happening in places like Portland and Seattle and other parts of the country. This all, it ends up playing as a part of the climate, right? Of what the government is allowing to happen, right? And what people's perception of what law enforcement might do in order to protect their business, because why else do we bother having police if not to protect the people and property, right? Not necessarily property, but like to stop looting and burning and et cetera, et cetera. You don't want that. So the fact of the matter is that you end up with a event where you have multiple people, not just Kyle Rittenhouse, that are armed, right? You have multiple people that were lighting trash cans on fire and causing the types of things that they had seen in other parts of the country. So why would anyone rationally thinking, looking at the situation, not think that the same thing that happened there could in fact be happening here? And if you care about your community, you wanted to fucking defend that shit. Because it takes time, it takes effort, it takes money, it takes all these resources in order to build up a fucking community, and for some assholes to come in and start burning and looting it because they got a fucking issue that they need a tissue for, well, that's their fucking problem, ain't it?
Yeah, okay, so you think
and because it's their problem, now it becomes my problem because they didn't go bother getting the fucking tissue.
Yeah, of course the veteran is more pro-land than pro-people. I can't believe that. Wow, hot take. Yeah, no, of course. And also, I just want to remind everybody that there was a
Pro-land and
prominent gamer
pro-people?
streamer who defended Rittenhouse, and he's still not repartnered. He got unpartnered, and he's still not repartnered.
Keep it on topic. Keep it on topic. Charmhole, rein it in.
That's topic. That's literally the topic. Rittenhouse
He's an
was defended.
affiliate again, and he
you guys
doesn't
are
want to
doing
be
it.
a partner because he likes dual streaming now.
Okay, see, that's off topic. Yell at her.
Charmhole.
Yes.
You have to understand who's in charge here. You understand? You
Yes.
are skirting the line.
Charmhole, stop being a teacher.
I gotta say.
Okay, is there anybody here who kind of agrees with me? Like anybody?
No,
I don't care.
I just
get
listen.
where you're coming
I
from.
want to hear more. I want to hear more from Chris because listen, of all the takes I've heard in this case, Kyle Rittenhouse is a CIA plant by the deep state to make sure that the Communist Party doesn't gain power in the U.S. Is like
No, no, that's
it's
my
the
opinion.
best take I've heard all night.
It's not my opinion that Kyle is that. It's my opinion that the climate of last year into this year is like that. It's my opinion that that there's deeper things behind the climate and the political polarization. It's not Russia. It's not China. It's here.
No, it's the CIA, dude. Kyle is a CIA plant.
No, I don't think he's a CIA plant, but I definitely think that the events that are going on are very suspicious. I think January 6th is suspicious. I think all this shit is suspicious. Half the people there were military and fucking police. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah, this is America.
You gotta ask yourself what the hell's going on.
No,
I agree.
police will use any.
People in America
are
are military and police, dude.
Our military and police will use whatever excuse they can to have overtime. And if that means some few Antifa people are lighting dumpsters on fire, you goddamn right, they're going to clock the fuck in and start making $30-40 an hour just to, and maybe kill some Antifa. Like Rittenhouse did for free, and people love him for it? Cool.
Wait a minute. There's never been any
Rittenhouse killed
implication that
Antifa?
Rosenbaum or any of the other two were actually Antifa. So
Yeah,
why the hell would you
where's your
say that?
evidence?
Oh, yeah. Well, good point. Sorry, I'm wrong then. No, you're right. You're right. No, they weren't Antifa. He just killed civilians. Cool.
Yeah, civilians that were attacking him.
Like the fuck?
Like, what the fuck is your point,
Oh
dude?
no, it's a civilian. Like I was just in a fuck. I had to defend myself in a street fight. I got pulled off my bike the other week. By your guys' definition, I would have been okay to blow their fucking head off.
Hey, rein it in, Charmhole. Rein it in.
Well, this is
no. We don't get so visceral here, and we can't say that shit.
okay. Well, then I'm sorry. I would be afraid, but okay. But like, you see what you're doing? You're telling that I'm the one.
Yeah,
I'm the
you
one
have
trying to-
trouble.
You just can't say that
coming up with
shit. You can't make these scenarios.
You're having trouble coming up with simple words like defend yourself.
I just don't get how I'm the one saying what he did was bad, but I'm also the one.
Because you're describing violent acts, dude. Come on. Like,
So then how are any of you-
Charmo, shut the fuck up and don't talk about violence like I told you in the fucking beginning. Just use
All
words
right.
like defend yourself, etc., etc. Simple as
yeah,
that.
you're right. I am visceral. You're right. I apologize again. When I'm defending myself, should I shoot them? Can I say that?
No.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't know how to fucking use the Kyle Rittenhouse defense when I can't talk about what the fuck he did. I don't know how. This just proves me right.
Because
like,
we are all law-abiding citizens. We are not making scenarios of people being shot, lethal force, none of that. We are focusing on the outcome of a verdict in which Rittenhouse was found not guilty and he was supposedly defending himself. This is what the court ruled. Okay? The court is not a green light to start talking about violence. I'm not going to repeat myself again. Next time you're just getting kicked.
All right.
Listen, to get on to get on topic again and to answer the question that we're actually trying to answer, right? You shouldn't be fucking protesting and fucking rioting or whatever, like this verdict. Kyle Rittenhouse is a fucking kid. Listen, if you want to do protests, you want to do riots, you want to actually have your voice heard, you should spend your time organizing in your community and trying to make political change happen to make sure that people aren't rioting for these things in the future that led to this situation happening. You should make sure you're pushing for healthcare, police reform, like all of these kinds of things in your communities. That's where you should spend your energy, not fucking the verdict of a case of a fucking minor who got into a very unfortunate situation.
He got himself into it.
It's so much more emotionally satisfying to yell at people on Twitter.
Yeah.
What does that accomplish though? Yelling at it on Twitter gets us no closer to Medicare for all, no closer to any of the policies that probably I would say a lot of us
Probably about
agree
as
on.
much as people like Charmhole are gonna do though.
It got me on the showdown, and it got me in a Halo match with fucking Hinkle. So
Can you stop saying insults, please? I'm trying to be PG.
Do you think that people would be going out into the streets and lighting things on fire and protesting and hitting each other and bringing guns out if they had the Medicare for all and the economy going good, if they didn't all get locked in their house and away from their jobs? Do you think maybe that was what was causing all the protests?
Yes.
Because people were
Yes.
anxious about how much they were
Absolutely.
about to lose their financial stability.
Exactly. When people's material
queen.
conditions
Oh my
are
God.
not met, they're more likely to be involved with protest and violence and things of that nature. What we need to do is have a government of action that fights for working families, that provides healthcare, that provides education, that provides housing, that rebuilds our country's infrastructure. If we realistically want to put an end to all of this violence, events like January 6th, that is exactly what we need.
No, that's not what you need. That's not what you need.
Yes.
That's not what you need at all, right? It's not becoming more and more obvious to me the more and more that I'm sitting here that, like, especially when it comes to economics, a lot of y'all don't even understand, like, why it is you should incentivize people to get their own rather than waiting to be given something by big daddy government, right?
I agree.
Whenever you're just being
Wait, so
given
a federal
something, it
job
has no
guarantee
whenever
is just
whenever you
handed
get given
something?
whenever you get given
Guaranteeing
something,
someone a job.
whenever you get
Guaranteeing
given
someone a
something,
job
whenever
is-
you get given
is handing
something,
someone-
whenever you
Come
get
on,
given
come on.
something.
All right, Yankee, let him, let it hunt. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. Yankee, let him finish and then you can go.
Yeah. So whenever you get given something, it has no value, right? So constantly trying to push, the government to collect more taxes and everything else, what that really does is it hurts the communities, because now the communities can't come together and form what we called back in the day like charities, right? Typically this was done through like churches or some type of organization in a town or a locality, but charity, right, is the thing that ends up helping people when they're in the bad way to be able to get back to the point where they can take care of themselves. Of course, you're going to have people that end up with medical conditions or etc., right, that end up needing some kind of help, but that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be pushed all the way up to the federal government. That's something that you could be advocating for in your state, right? You could even be advocating for the same thing in your county, right? So like there are levels of government to these things before you ever get to the federal government, before you're trying to push it for all, when maybe that's not what this particular state wants. This is where freedom of choice fucking matters, people.
CTV, there's a distinction between having the government just do things for you and like do all kinds of like build stores and like do all kinds of like what some people would say overreach, right? There's a difference between that and saying the government should provide some base level of healthcare to people, right? Should provide some base level of security to people. Right? There are base necessities.
Wait, I want to go on a bit of a tangent here,
Well,
but
a base level of
I want to hear what Yankee was supposed to say after him.
Wasn't every salary you've gotten your entire life paid for by the government?
No.
It was, though. You were in the army.
No, it wasn't. I got out of the Navy, right? Because I served on because I served on submarines, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I did that from 2001 to 2010. I haven't gotten fuck all from the government until like a few years ago when I was able to go sign up at the VA for some health care there. Besides that, I ain't got fuck all.
So you're getting subsidies from the government, and then you're complaining about other
subsidy
people
from the
wanting
fucking
subsidies.
government. You saying a thing doesn't make it fucking true. So if you're gonna start telling me how I live my fucking life, then you need to come over here and fucking jump on this fucking Johnson. You hear me?
Listen,
otherwise, sit there, shut the fuck up, and don't even show your fucking face because you don't want to own your own fucking things. That's where we're at right now. I want to go back to Yankee because Yankee was actually making a fucking point that I can respond to instead of you sitting there talking about this dumb shit.
Got the benefits that you fought for. But you're fighting against a government that's capable of providing you health care. You're fighting against a government that provides the means in which for you to be able to survive after you went and fought for the country.
And my survival is not dependent upon health care, period. It's not. The fact is,
are you saying that you're
so right there is where you need to ask a different question. The different question should be, is that why do we have a veteran that is in this system that is not advocating for it to be for everybody? Because what I can see is the real fucking danger of having piss poor fucking healthcare, which if you bother going and looking in history, you'll see that veterans got a long and historic fucking history when it comes to having problems with the fucking VA, right? So why don't we want that for everyone? Because it fucking sucks. It's been getting better in the last few fucking years, but it ain't nowhere near.
Just because it has issues, just because it has, just because it has
you would hope for in that communist fucking utopia that you want to fucking build.
Things.
I love how the only conservative on the fucking panel just continues to be shouted down. I guess I'm just going to continue fucking going until you decide to fucking stop. And I'm going to turn into a motherfucking rap guy on fucking everybody because you won't fucking stop, right? That's the fucking problem here. I'm the only one in the fucking room with this fucking take. One at a time for responses.
And it's wrong. And your take is wrong.
It's not wrong. It's your fucking opinion. Everybody's allowed their own fucking opinion. If you don't fucking agree with it, that is your fucking problem. Right? And fucking deal with it.
The issue, the reason why
you're being too idealistic, though. You're expecting people to contribute to charities when most people would rather give you a $10 bill than work at a soup kitchen for an hour.
And how do you go about fixing people's mentalities to get it changed around?
That's your problem to get your way for the charities to provide where the government should be.
It's not my job through government to do those things. It's people in their communities organizing to form such a thing.
And realistically, they're not going to do that, right? So we have to
Not
subsidize
necessarily.
them some fun.
There's lots of organizations across the country that do this very thing that I'm talking about now. You're
But not
imagining a
enough.
world where
Not enough to.
so then it sounds like that there's more work to be fucking done. So instead of trying to so instead of trying to push it through the fucking government, which what it does is it points a gun to your head and says you will do this thing, and if you don't, you will end up in jail. That's what government is. It doesn't matter if it's a fucking parking ticket or jaywalking. First, there's a fine. You don't pay the fine. They issue a summons. You end up in fucking jail and they take your fucking freedom. And at some point, if you keep resisting, then guess what? They end up pulling out the gun.
CTV, this is just an
Hey, one at a time. One at a time.
Right? And I'm pretty sure
one at a time. Dario, go.
Sure. CTV, this is just an anti-government argument in general, right? I'm pretty sure you're not an anarchist, right? You believe in some form of government, right?
It's true.
So just saying the government does everything at the barrel of a gun. Yeah, that's true, right? But we do want some things to be at the barrel of a gun, right? We do want the government to have some sort of function, right? And listen, the reason why everybody is against you on this is because you come off as an extremist to one side, right? If we were taking a more nuanced position, right, I might agree with you more than I agree with some other people on this panel, but we're never going to have that conversation, right? Because I don't believe the government should do everything, right? I don't believe the government should provide all kinds of different things for citizens. I just believe that the government should provide the bare necessities for people to be able to thrive and live their own lives. Right?
Yeah, but that's
what
where
I think. And I think healthcare is one of them, right? I think healthcare and I think security and I think to some degree like shelter and food, like just the base necessities for you to be able to survive, then you can organize in your communities, thrive. You can do things which you and your community, your state, your local city, whatever, that you like, right? I don't want everything
go
to
to a
be done
counter
with the federal
protest,
government
right?
either.
Yeah, so Dario, right?
counter
Like
protest.
you brought up a really good word in there, and it's security, right? Like there are things I do expect the government to be doing, right? And we're going to assume that we're talking about the federal government here because that's where you're advocating for Medicare for all, right?
No, not necessarily, right? Like not necessarily, right? I also do like generally more distribution between power, right? I do like the American system.
But you are advocating for Medicare for all, which would be a federal program, right?
Well, I mean, at the end, like I would like every single state or like every single city to have some sort of Medicare
I understand
for all
that, but
program.
what you're advocating for is Medicare for all, and that would be handled at the federal level, correct?
Well, depends what you mean, right? I'm not advocating for the policy.
I'm just trying to understand. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not advocating for the policy Medicare for all.
So
right?
would you have wanted, Kyle? Like, what if they were like?
Okay. Anyway.
What if the
so I
government?
feel like that
what
was
if
a
the government
distraction.
was
I
like,
feel like
Kyle,
that
you
was a
need
distraction
to...
because there was this whole thing that got said ahead of time.
God.
So security, right, was the word that you pointed out. There are things I do expect the federal government to be doing, right? To build and maintain post roads, which is specifically spelled out in the Constitution, is a thing that I expect them to be doing, right? To provide and maintain a navy,
All right,
right?
hold
is
that
another
thought.
one.
Hold that thought. We have to put this into the next round as the next topic because we have exhausted the current topic in regards to Kyle Rittenhouse. So, I'm going to explain the process. I think we have a change of protocol now, and this is how it's going to work now. The judges are going to decide a winner of this round. The winner of the round will be able to eliminate 1 out of 2 of the people who get voted for the least. So, chat, you want to vote to keep, not kick. Vote to keep, not kick. We, the judges, will announce our result when the poll is done. Vote to keep, not kick. Who did you enjoy the most? I'm going to hover my mouse so you can see the names here. And you're going to vote who you liked the best, who you want to keep, and not who you want to kick. You understand? So
let's get your chat?
Sorry?
Is it in your chat or is it
you can share it? You can share it in your chat as well. It's not. Doesn't have to just be mine.
No, is it? It's a straw poll. Okay.
Yeah, straw poll. Okay, let's get to voting. All right, the judges' vote is in. We are going to announce the winner based on our vote. So I'll go first, announcing my winner, Chris VT. Henry, go.
The cultured veteran, he did a really good job defending his point. He faced a lot of competition there, but I don't think anyone really successfully beat down his
Wait,
his
clarify.
man.
Who is it?
The veteran, the cultured veteran. Is that the guy who was arguing against Medicare for all and all that stuff?
That's
Critical thinking veteran.
His name is
CTV.
Critical Thinking Veteran. Okay.
Critical thinking veteran. Yeah,
Yeah.
my bad.
Luca, who's your vote? You're muted. Also, fix your camera.
Yeah, so the it's critically thinking veteran, and syllables matter. What's wrong with the camera?
No, it's Luca's camera. It's.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
Turn sideways. Luca, who's your vote?
I'm gonna go ahead and say that Chris VT made some of the most cogent points. Y'all who call yourselves leftists are being wiped the floor by a man with a wonderful mustache and a guy who wears aviators. So get your shit together.
Okay, the judges and result is in. Chris VT is the leader of the round. Now let's check the vote. The result of the vote is we have at the bottom two, Pesto Mime and Yankee Tanky. So, Chris VT, who would you like to eliminate? Pesto Mime or Yankee Tanky?
Pesto Mime.
Okay, Pesto Mime, you had a good run. You were a bit quiet.
No, not Pesto Mime.
Pesto Mime will be returning for next week's show. Hopefully he won't be a quiet, boring fuck next time. Okay, Pesto Mime. Any final words you'd like to announce before we move on to the next round?
The mic broken.
Your mic is broken?
Sounded like it. Fucking sounds like a damn aircraft or a fucking airplane's taking off every time he keys his mic up.
Pesto Mime, is that okay? That's that
website right now.
Okay.
And subscribe to our magazine.
Okay, thank you, Pesto Mime. Okay.
Support LaRouche.
All right. We are now moving on to our next topic, bridging off from the one previously. And it is, what role should government have in our economy? Should it be limited? Should it be extensive? Is there too much government? Is there too little government? Let's take it away.
You can't have money without government. It's as simple as long as people care about the dollar, right? Money. I believe Zerka was the one who said money is like what is it? It's like one word, it's like one thing, like one eye, one mon, right? Like as far as like who else? Like what are you gonna just have crypto for
Take
everything?
after bad take. I don't even know what you're saying, but what I'm gonna say is I think that the government is already extremely involved in our personal lives and in our economy, but they're involved in rigging the economy for the elites. I want to rig the economy for the prosperity of the masses of the people of this country.
Yes.
I think that anything that CTV says is wrong, and I'll stand by my words.
Same. Agreed.
So instead
Sultan
of
is right.
So I guess
We
instead of
need
the
a
empty
government of
gesture,
action that's willing to fight for working families, not a government of action that fights for multinational corporations. And this is why I believe we need things like Medicare for all. We need things like a federal jobs guarantee. We need to mobilize our young people to rebuild this country's infrastructure. We need a government that's willing to actually do what is necessary for the working people of this country instead of the multinational banking system.
well, so what I hear a lot of people say stuff like, we want a government of action, we want a government that isn't rigged for like the elites and all these kind of things, right? To some degree, and I did enjoy that. Like you did say some, I assume, are like policy positions, Yankee and stuff. But I would rather just like talk about what roles do you think government should fill, right? And like, do you like the way that the U.S. government functions right now, with like the different branches of government? You have the federal government, the states, the local, and all these things, right? Because I actually do like the way that the American government is divided, right? I don't want the federal government to necessarily decide everything for like every single different county, state, city, all these kinds of things, right? But I do think that every single person living in a country or even in the world, right? Because I don't really like my morals apply to everybody, right? And I think everybody should have access to some degree of healthcare, some degree of education, like a minimum standard. They should be able to have a roof over their head, and they should be able to feed themselves, right? I think those are fundamental for everybody to be able to have in order to prosper in the world, right? Without those things, you can't have a chance to make something of yourself.
And while I can agree with what you just said, the praxis differs whenever it comes to how those things are gotten, right? A person needs to have a drive to want to get those things for themselves. So like, yeah, I agree that housing and eating and washing your ass and all these things are very important and very, very much needed, right? But how the people end up with those things is the difference. You think that the people that are out there working the jobs and are already contributing to the tax system is the ones that need to be footing the bill for the people that don't, right? And while I can agree that like at the and while I can agree at the and while I can agree at the state level, right, that there should be taxes collected, and I would vote for something at a state level, right, where I was helping out people that were disenfranchised or needed, some help to get back on their feet, right? I definitely would be a part of the crowd that would be like, yeah, I don't mind tax dollars going for that. But when you're talking about the federal level, and there's always seems to be so much like lack of oversight to where it ends up being that there are people out there that just end up gaming the system. And when they do that, it makes conservatives, right? And especially when we see it out in our communities, people gaming the system, it has us lose respect for the system in its entirety.
Right,
so
we
need to get a lot better about oversight if we're going to be doing these things. And this is why at the federal level, right, these things don't need to be being pushed there because of the oversight and because it creates the type of bureaucracies that we have where you end up with just the leaders of the bureaucracy end up making law that was not passed by the people, and that in and of itself creates a whole other fucking problem.
You're going on
Now, this is a fundamental misunderstanding.
One at a time. Hey, shut up. Charmhole goes first, then Dario.
Now, this is a fundamental understanding of how taxation works. When your government takes your tax dollars, more importantly, your bosses and your owners' tax dollars, because they're the ones giving you the money that they get, right? So as long as you get that, right, you're giving away your money. It's just burned. They don't take your money, CTV. They don't take Haz's massive amount of partnered money, right? And then they go put it in a library or a cop, down the street. That's not how it works. When they tax it, the dollars, poof, they're gone. All right, they're gone. That's how taxation works. And when you say like, oh, they're gaming the system, like, how else are they going to get ahead in a system where our system is just, it's all inheritance. It's just given. It's just boom. Hey, you were rich and you fucked. So you had some kids and now they're rich because we don't have a proper taxation system to redistribute the wealth. More importantly, it's deleting their money. That's what it is. We need to delete the inherited money. All right.
And
that's what taxation is. It's not about taking the billionaires' dollars and giving it to you so you can buy a Nintendo Switch, right?
Yeah, and the problem in your argument right there is that you pointed out an action that someone else chose. It ended up like being a very serious marker for why they ended up not being able to collect the amount of wealth that you're talking about. They had children. Right? Children are fucking expensive. If you have a child, you can expect yourself to be paying an 18-year payment plan for this life that you chose to either spread your legs for or dive all the way into. Period.
Wait, it was my turn. Wait, it was my turn. It was my turn. Okay, just a second, right? I wanna actually respond to CTV's point instead of just making weird voices and pretending like CTV is a child, right? So the actual response to your point, CTV, is that there is an issue with the system that you're proposing, right? Where we don't have a base necessity is that somebody has to take care of the people who are non-working, right? And a large portion of the population are either elderly, are sick, are unemployed, or are children, right? And unless these people have somebody to provide for them in some way or another, they will just die, right? Because they cannot provide for themselves by definition.
Okay, no one cares. Right? No one cares. No one cares. Anyways, CTV, so I completely agree with you. The United States of America is a settler state that needs to be broken up. The federal state is completely useless. And
Not completely useless.
Based.
It should not exist, and the states should be divided up, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's not completely useless at all. The federal government does
It's
play a
completely
very
useless. The
no, it's
United
not.
States is a fake
It's
nation.
it's not. It serves a very important role in our government here. The problem is that it has been asked to do things that it was not originally intended to do, and the unintended consequences of that has been the basic setting up of tiny fucking governors that are not elected by way of bureaucrats to give us laws that we the people have to abide by, or else we end up
Yeah,
with that
it's
gun
useless.
pointed at us. And there's tons of examples of legislation that ends up doing this. One would be like where restaurant doors fucking have to come in one way and then they go the other way because you're having to fight back against two different government entities. These examples exist. So this is where like you have to get away from continuing to obfuscate responsibility of the House and the Senate from the people to a fucking third party entity and by way of bureaucracy.
Wait, CTV, can you respond to my point instead of answering like the dumb fucks who are just like
CTV,
making
take
noise?
that flag down. Take that flag down. It's a
I tell you what, when you start paying the bills in my house, you can start making decisions around here. Until then, fuck off. How's that?
Until then, fuck off, man.
There you go. Fuck Joe Biden. Just so we're clear.
CTV.
Yeah, fuck Joe Biden.
Let's go,
CTV.
Brandy.
CTV, can you respond to my point instead of answering like the dumb fucks who just interject?
I'm sorry, man. They went first. So give it to me again.
Sure. So how do you propose we handle the non-working population, which is a pretty big portion of the American population? Isn't it like 30 something percent are either like too old, too sick, or too young, or unemployed, right? They just can't provide for themselves. They can't work, right? How do you propose we take care of these people, if not by some form of government, right? And if your answer, I assume your answer will be some kind of charity. Well, in that case, if nobody's providing them charity, what do we do? Like, do they just die?
I first off, you're not born with an expectation to someone else's services. Okay.
You're literally born
You
sucking
kind
on
of are though. You
It's
kind
how
of are.
you
You're born with the
9 months
expectation
in the
to get like
womb.
milk.
But when you're born at a hospital, right? You're born at a hospital. You receive the hospital features.
Even if
I
you're
love
born
how
at home, you have a doula.
you all misunderstood what it is that I said and you're continuing. But go ahead, I'll listen for a little bit longer.
Or are you just a moron?
No, listen.
Wow.
You know what? I'm not
Let's
surprised
CTV
from the
respond.
low hanging fruit that comes by way of Charmhole, right? I mean, he's been on the platform for over 2 years now, and you couldn't come up with a better fucking name after I destroyed you on a Prime panel before. It's amazing. Anyway, so
Good
the fact
one.
of the matter is, it's
And
true.
here
I
you
still
are
got
with me again.
and the clip is still on the channel. You getting fucking roasted. So there you go. Now,
What do we do with the non-working population?
So Dario,
Let me rein it in a little bit. We gotta connect this to the recent plan for the so-called infrastructure bill. Was the infrastructure bill too much or too little? Is there too much government intervention in the economy, or do we need more government in order to fix our economy?
We need
Well,
more.
I'll
We need
argue
more.
that
Listen. The main thing is this. If you look, I lived in China for 2 years. China, which hasn't been at war, which hasn't been an empire like the United States, has high-speed railroad everywhere.
Yeah.
I could go from Wuhan to Beijing, Beijing to Urumqi, Urumqi to Lhasa. You know why? Because their government provides for their people instead of going and bombing a bunch of other fucking countries.
The
You wanna know
Communist
another
Party
thing?
is
You want to know
evil.
another thing?
Communist
You want to know another
Communist
thing?
Party is
Another
evil.
thing is that there, you see all CTV. I got respect for you, but if you look around there, all that stuff you have, most of it is made in China. Think about that kind of power.
CCP is evil though. Look at Hong Kong. Look at Xinjiang. Look at all of these.
That's fake news. Fake news. CIA talking points. Be careful.
What
with
do you
that
mean
stuff.
fake news?
Don't bring it here.
talking about
Don't bring it-
fallacies
I went
by the
What do you mean?
propaganda.
I
Well,
went to
this is
Xinjiang. I went to
the Uyghurs and what they're doing to
China-
Taiwan. I mean,
China's a
there's many things
settler.
China does wrong as well.
Come on.
China-
Because they're being a
Relax.
China's a
superpower.
Relax over there.
Literally,
China's a
the
settler
CIA
state.
proved that they were not doing anything to the Uyghur population in China recently. There
What are you
was no
saying?
genocide.
Where?
We know
The
this for a
Han, the
fact.
Han are
Come
We know
settling.
this for a
The
fact.
Han are settling. The Han are settling in Xinjiang. They're settlers. Kick them out.
They're settlers.
Why the fuck
Sultan,
are you
Sultan,
talking
Sultan,
about China?
rein it in. We're not
Okay.
Sultan, Sultan,
What a take.
rein it in. We rein it in. You're only allowed to call America settlers. You can't. You know what I mean? Like rein it in.
Come on.
Okay,
Come
to
on.
answer, actually, I feel like I'm the only person who actually engages
Listen,
with
that-
what Haas is saying.
no.
Listen,
I'm
the
engaged right now.
infrastructure
I'm
bill.
engaged right now. This is what I think. I think. I think.
Oh, the
that
flag's
there
made in
are-
America, by the way, just so
Shut
we're clear.
the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. I think
You
there's
shut the fuck up, damn it! I
No,
wouldn't know about
you're
the
not
flag
even
being made in
listening to
America.
what we're
It's
saying.
made in
Shut the fuck up.
America.
Everybody, calm down. Jackson,
CTV,
go.
Please,
I'm
Jackson,
about
please
to.
talk
I'm
about
about
Everybody
to
shut
agree
up.
with some of your
Jackson, go.
points.
Good. Don't tell me shut the fuck up. We'll agree. How's that?
No, you're being
All
irritating.
right, okay.
Okay.
Moving
I'm
on.
good, I'm
Moving
glad.
on. Moving on. Jackson, go.
Okay. So I think there's many examples within our economy in the U.S. today in which privatization, for-profit middlemen make different industries operate poorly for working class people and the masses of this country. I think to specify a little bit more about what I was saying about more government intrusion to facilitate the smooth sailing of major industries and basic necessities in this country, we need to break up certain oligopolies and monopolies and give them back to the people. Certain industries should be nationalized.
Yes.
And there should be more economic investment in small businesses. And to get to the point of the infrastructure bill was like 1.5 trillion over 10 years. That's not going to do a dent in our infrastructure places. We have like a grade of a D- on our infrastructure in this country. That's going to do nothing.
I absolutely agree with Jackson. The big thing is, it's embarrassing to go to a place like
Liberal.
Boston. It's embarrassing to go to a place like Boston and see the subway, the T, and you go to China in Shanghai, or you go to other parts, and you're like, my God, it's so high tech. Why? They put their people to work. They put the money back to the economy. They put the money back to the working class, back to the infrastructure.
Our people aren't work.
Where'd all our
We
money go?
literally-
Where'd all our
We
money
have
go?
self-driving-
We literally, okay, dude.
Goldman
We literally had a storm in New York City back like a few months ago, and the entire city had to shut down because of a few inches of rain. Like,
Yeah,
think
that
about that. New York City is one of the largest cities in the world, and we had to shut down everything due to a few inches of water.
Yeah,
but
it's an open
it's
air
like-
prison.
That would not
We
happen
know.
in China.
Hold
bro.
on, it's like you
That would
don't
not happen
understand.
anywhere else.
Hold on, I want to address a point to Chris, but that's like you just don't even understand how topography works, right? Like whenever that hurricane came through, I think it was Sandy, right? Way, but then
Oh,
like
I'm
a
not
couple of
talking
weeks
about-
later.
I'm talking about a regular rainstorm. I'm talking about like regular rain.
Yeah,
It
I'm
was like
hearing
that,
you.
really raining.
I'm hearing you. The point is that it's right at fucking sea level. Jesus fuck. Okay, now. Jesus Christ, fucking Chris, you were saying something that was like worth actually fucking addressing. Do you mind giving me a recap? Because that shit got me distracted a little bit, but I got something here for you.
I was just talking about investing in the infrastructure, about China.
Oh, right, China,
Yeah,
right. So the
speaking of
important thing to point out in that is that
speaking of
like the fact that China has only been making these types of gains and like Jesus fucking Christ, Sultan,
Sultan,
you're just
shut
about to make
the
your
fuck
way
up.
into the fucking sea.
I was scanning the room to see who was talking. I couldn't. Sultan, shut the fuck up. Let him talk.
All right, so Chris, it's important to note that in the last 50 years, that's when China's been making a lot of its gains. Now, the thing that I am not 100% on, right, and I don't know that you are either, but the question that you have to ask yourself is the type of worker protections that we have here in the United States, are those actually being done for the Chinese people, or is it just simply about them exploiting the people, right, and forcing them to do a thing in order to accomplish a thing? And if that's the case, then it wasn't done with the type of value system that I would want a government to have whenever it comes doing these things, which is why we have these type of worker protections here, right?
I love how everybody here, everybody's like,
Charmo,
"Oh, no,
shut
we
the
just need
fuck
to
up
do more."
and let Chris TV respond.
CTV, with all due respect, they have worker protections as well. Absolutely. The problem is that in this country, we have people in prison making Victoria's Secret lingerie for pennies, making Boeing airplane parts for pennies, all documented, well known. Whole Foods was making cheese out of the prison population. We say that we respect
I've
workers'
never heard
rights.
that actually. Do you have some
Yeah,
links
yeah,
to some
yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see it. Yeah.
Look at here. If somebody else can look it up, I can definitely put some in the chat.
Yeah, just look in the. Yeah, you can put it in the. Just send it to me in DM. It'll be the easiest way. I'm here in the Discord call. Easy to find.
Consume more, everybody. Make more. What we need to do is we need to give more people more things so we can keep making more and consuming more, and so we can hurry up and destroy this fucking planet. Right?
Charm will stay on topic.
I am staying on topic. These all like Christy.
Don't argue with the fucking moderators. Stay on topic.
The issue. Wait, you were saying that New York City got flooded because it's below sea level. So what about the Netherlands, which is
it's
even
at sea level?
Below... Yeah, but the Netherlands is even lower than we are, and they never get flooded. Why is that?
Because they built a big ass fucking lock out there to hold out the fucking water,
okay,
so they can
why don't we
control
have
it.
A lock?
Because of fucking geography. For fuck's sake, man.
What
Do you not even know anything
I'm
about
asking
New York Harbor?
geography.
Where are you going to build
Christ.
a big ass fucking lock? It'd have to be
Why
like
don't-
what?
why don't we have-
75
why don't we have
miles across?
the lock
And then
is-
like,
the
what are you
lock
going to
is an
attach it
example.
to? The type of idea that you just gave me was so far fucking fetched that like
Bro,
it just
not
gave you
about the
weak. Like
lock.
there's
It's
no
not about
fucking
the
way
lock.
I would
It's
want
not
you
about the
planning a
lock.
military
Money
campaign. There's
It's
just
not
no
about the
or an
lock.
engineering
All right.
fucking feat.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yes.
It's not about the lock. It's about we don't have the infrastructure to prevent things like flooding from happening. We don't have anything in place. We literally are just like, we're just going to take it full on and hope for the best. That's what we have right now.
And what do
I'm
they have?
saying
to
I'm
get-
actually completely dank.
we don't like other places. They have stuff in preparation for like natural
Yes,
disasters.
but New York City also has these preparations. It's called pumps to get the shit fucking out. And they do. They do. It's a part of New York City's infrastructure. There's a lot of pumps that pump water out. As a matter of fact, the pumps running in the subway are running constantly.
CTV. I think regardless.
Years old.
Listen, CTV. I think regardless of whether you want to, agree with him on this specific point, the engineers of America have said that our grade of infrastructure in the United States is like a D-. So objectively, according to the engineers of the United States, it's piss poor, right? And
Well, I would agree.
Don't you think, let me finish. Don't you think that if we didn't spend $785 billion every single year to maintain 850 military bases, to bomb 7 different countries, to pump money in these like regimes, that we could actually improve our infrastructure here at home?
Wait, one moment. Wait. I gotta pause it for a second. A red ambience with the $100 donation. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it a ton. CTV, go ahead.
Base.
All right, yeah, so I can definitely. Oh, this is where like an understanding
Wait,
of the Constitution.
Who left? Who just left?
I don't know. The people I was talking to are still here. So
The hell?
Yeah, I don't know. They suck.
I
That was
feel bad
Dario.
for that
Dario's
person.
gone.
Dario?
Oh, it was Dario. Yeah, I was talking to Dario. Where'd he go?
Did they rage quit? What happened?
He wouldn't have had a reason to do that. I don't think.
He said his internet crashed and he's trying to
Oh,
get back up.
okay. He'll
Well,
be
the
back.
biggest issue
Okay.
here.
Hold on, it's Charmhole. We all know it was me fucking talking in response to Jackson Hinkle because he asked me a very specific question. I don't understand. Jesus, fuck. Jesus, just open your Charmhole.
Let CTV go.
Now,
CTV, go ahead.
So, if you understand the Constitution, which you understand, or at least my understanding, right, as I read this thing, is that the Army should not be as big as it is. And that would have to do exactly with the Air Force as well, which is why it was kind of confusing for me why that there needed to be a fucking Space Force, right? Because fact of the matter is that Congress is told to provide and maintain a Navy. Well, a Navy flies through any type of fucking medium. So why is it that the Navy wouldn't just be the natural thing to keep pushing towards any other ideas that you have instead of just regulating it only to traveling on the oceans or waterways, right? You could the Navy has the fucking best pilots in the world anyway. So, like, there does need to be a restructuring. And if there are nations that wanted to have our military forces on the land that they occupy, what should have happened? And if we would have had...
Charmol, ready at attention. This is not a sleeping fucking debate.
Yeah, so if we would have had...
fucking boring.
If we would have had more statesmen, right, instead of politicians just trying to advocate on either side along the way, we would have had a lot smarter decisions be made. Like, if you want our military there, then there needs to be a vote for you to become a state to the United States. Without that, right, you end up setting up the very thing that we're sitting here, like, is the counterpoint is exactly what Jackson Hinkle said, right? Now, how do we justify spending this money whenever the land and these people are not a part of us? And that's
CTV,
how
let me
you
ask
end up in those things, and that's what the founders warned us against when they talked about entangling alliances.
Can I ask you a question? I want to ask you
Sure.
a question. Are you a patriot?
Yes.
I consider myself also a red patriot. Let me ask you a
Good.
question. Let me ask you a question. Do you think it's patriotic that we have the best bridges in the world?
We don't have the best bridges in the world.
No. I'm saying, do you think it's patriotic that we build the best bridges in the world?
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Unlocked.
No, what I'm trying to say is, don't you think it's patriotic that we should have the best infrastructure in the world? That we should have the best trains, the best bridges,
I mean, you
best
should.
roads?
Well, you should definitely take pride in your own fucking infrastructure, to be sure. Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Our country doesn't give a shit about the infrastructure.
Yeah, we have nothing to be proud of.
We have nothing to be proud of. So when
true.
all of a sudden
What
no, I'm saying in
infrastructure
terms
would
of
you be proud of?
infrastructure, in terms
What
of
infrastructure would you be proud of? Give me one example.
You
I don't
literally
know.
just said to be
on
proud
our
of
own
the Navy.
infrastructure, I've been able to go all
We
the way
just-
from New York to San Diego, up to fucking North Dakota, down to the tip of Florida.
don't have
I've been able to go
bullet trains.
everywhere.
Highways.
You
You've got
don't-
the
we don't
best
have
highway.
bullet trains. Why
I'm not
don't
saying
we
they're
have
the best
bullet trains?
highways, but I've been able to get across my country, which frankly doesn't have the hundreds of year more history
Hold
of
on.
building of infrastructure that Europe and some of the other parts of the world have. Our infrastructure is
Hold on,
relatively new
100
Hold
by
on.
comparison.
20 years ago.
Let Anna speak.
Oh, I was just saying that we don't have bullet trains though.
Thank you for that,
Oh,
Anna.
yeah.
And
These
Yas,
bullet
go
trains
ahead.
weren't built over hundreds of years. They were built in 20 years. Like, are you?
Listen,
Yeah,
I
and
know
that's
the
because
China-
Navy-
China. Look, the difference between China building its infrastructure now would be the same thing when America was building its infrastructure at the start of the Industrial Revolution. Right? That's when the land was most clear, and it was a lot easier for the government to say, "Well, we want to do this thing, and then so we're going to clear out this fucking land. You people need to fucking move." Well, guess what? That's been happening for a lot longer here through eminent domain. So then we end up in the situation where it's a lot harder to get things done. This is where, like, one of the things that I did look at as a part of this infrastructure bill, which I don't think is going to end up serving the purposes that people wish that it would, but the I-14 project that connects Augusta over to Fort Benning through Georgia is going to be crucial, right, for moving commercial traffic. Fucking
One highway.
crucial.
That's one highway.
You said,
But I'll
You
say
could be
this,
working
but for
on multiple
Georgia,
train systems. You are focused on one highway.
Wait. Let me talk. CTV. So you said that China's been able to do this because they're focusing on their industrialization right now. Don't you think that because we are
no,
the
I
most
said that because they
Wait,
did.
wait,
Oh, no,
that's what you
no.
said.
Just let me preface, right? They didn't have. They had a blanker slate for them to be able to fucking start, terraforming the land and building the infrastructure.
Okay, I would argue that it doesn't matter because we have the most prosperous economy on the earth right now, at least for the foreseeable 5 years, 10 years. I think we could do it right now if we wanted to.
What? That is higher than any ever. People in America right now, everybody from poor to rich is paying 80% of their income just to live on the land. 80% of the income. And people are like, oh, we need to tax billionaires more. Oh, we need to be paid more. No, rent is literally too damn high. And so are mortgages. That's the fucking issue. And you're going to say, oh, we're all prosperous because I can buy a PS5. Like, come on.
Well, no, let's
Sultan talk. Sultan, what do you want to say?
As an Albanian who's been to America, I can tell you we have way better infrastructure, and we're not even that rich of a country.
Which country are you in?
Albania has high-speed bullet trains, while the US has deteriorating 1980s diesel trains.
Exactly.
Just to give
It's
And nobody
exactly
brought
the
this up,
same.
but-
It's exactly
Nobody
the
brought-
same, and then it's
How much do you
exactly
think
the
it
same in
costs to
Denmark.
replace
All
these
right, but
trains, though? How much do you think it costs to replace these trains?
Dude, fuck
Do you
the
think it
train.
costs to wage all these
that.
different
What about-
wars and
what
have
about public
800
housing?
military
And not only
bases?
just to build the
Nationalized public
trains,
housing.
but to build the
Are we gonna
tracks
talk about public
capable of
housing?
carrying trains at a faster
Less than
speed.
waging all of our
Defund the
wars.
Pentagon.
CTV, let me
Defund
ask
the
you a question.
Pentagon. Defund the Pentagon.
CTV, I live here in Vermont, right? I'm a farmer. It's all farmers here, right? What do we have? We have maple syrup, we've got hay, we've got milk.
I've been up there,
we've
by
got
the
all
way.
the good stuff. It's beautiful up here. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, it is.
Why do we have the F-35 based in Vermont? What the hell good is it doing? Are we gonna go to war with Quebec over maple syrup? Are we gonna invade Montreal?
When everybody, the
NX
question
Canada.
that you're asking doesn't actually like the reality here is that the fact that it's being produced in Vermont doesn't actually matter, considering that the manufacturing of it is serving the federal purpose, which one of the 50 states can host that. I mean,
no. What I'm saying is that we're hosting it. Every time it flies, it costs tens of thousands of dollars. It makes
I'm not an advocate for the F-35, to be clear.
No, what I'm saying is that the F-35 one plane is hundreds of millions of dollars. Put that one plane in the scrapyard and let's build railroads.
Defund the Pentagon.
The people.
You're not gonna hear me argue that we need the F-35. I don't frankly think that we need the F-35, but it's one of those. But it is in fact one of those programs that once it got started, like now it's just a fucking a mess, which is why it never should have been started to begin with.
But like,
never should be started to begin with.
CTV, I think the frustration that we have with what you're saying is you're saying, well, America doesn't have, you're providing like these defense arguments for why America isn't investing in their infrastructure. You're saying we don't have a blank slate, or like rebuilding our entire train infrastructure is going to be too much money. Meanwhile, we're spending we spent $800 million a day in Afghanistan alone. Like, I think you're just making excuses that are
It's
kind
not
of
an
bullshit.
excuse. It's the practical reality of the situation
not
where, like,
practical.
Jesus fucking Christ!
Come on, dude. I haven't spoken at all.
If you're going to ask the question, you got to let me answer, right?
But
So the
everybody's
reality
asking you
here is I know everybody's asking me questions, which is why it's important for you to let me fucking answer.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus. So the important thing to remember is it's not just the amount of time that it's going to take to build the train. Assuming that you're going to build it in a different place, you're going to end up having a slower. If you just go from one to the other without building them separately, you're going to have a slowdown in the amount of goods and services that you can move around the country. Right, so people don't want to do that. So then you have to acquire new land and new places to lay down the tracks in order to build the thing. And then you're going to have to justify the cost of doing the thing to see how much more money that you're going to be able to make to offset the amount of cost that you're going to have to put into this thing. So this is where like a basic understanding of entrepreneurship and business building becomes very important to understand what are the things that the government should be considering along the way for how beneficial it's going to be for the people based on the amount of money that it's going to cost.
I think you just proved my point and everyone's point here, because doing that and having a 5-year, 10-year plan so we can actually plan for those things is better than pissing away all our taxpayer money on these stupid wars and not achieving any sort of growth or any sort of industrialization that's going to benefit this country.
Right. So then we have to go back and talk to the root question, which was about economic policy and how it's been being botched for the last 100 fucking years and has allowed the American people to sell their children's and grandchildren's fucking future down the fucking drain to keep paying this fucking tax machine instead of getting us back to a more stable fucking currency, right? That is not going to just continue to drain the fucking people, because dollar that's printed is printed with interest on it from the fucking start.
One moment. Henry, check the internal VC, please, or Discord.
Okay, liberal. Okay, liberal.
Shut up,
Look,
Charmel.
I got 3 points.
Yeah, I saw it.
So I got 3 points.
Jesus
and
Christ,
I'll be
come
done
on.
here. All right.
I was DC, dude. I was DC. Just let me make one point specifically for Jackson.
Okay, please go ahead,
Specifically
Dario.
for Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
I wanna bridge the gap a little bit, right? Because there's a discussion between how do we pay for it, right? But when people talk about how do we pay for these things, right? You're not talking about this is the American budget and this is all the money that gets spent on military. Like, what is it, like 60% or whatever? Like, that's not what people are in good when people in good faith make the argument that you can't afford these things. You're talking about political will, right? Is there a political will to allocate this amount of money in the budget for these things, right? So it isn't a sufficient answer to just say, well, we're spending so much money on the military, right? Surely we can find 1 billion to do this thing, or like 1 billion to do this thing, right? You have to argue, how do you get the political will and the American people behind supporting these things or supporting candidates which will allocate things in the budget to these things, right? And right now,
well,
at least
what we need to do to be able to actually get the political will to get these things, we need to organize our workplaces and our communities and build bases of power within our communities and workplaces so we can actually push politicians through like an actual general strike, for example.
Yeah, hey,
Let
listen,
me bring it all together.
listen, that's a very good argument, and this is actually an argument that maybe CTV can also get behind, right? Because if you're actually making this argument in the way that Yankee Tanky made it, and the way that I understand it, right, you're saying, well, you don't necessarily need the government to do everything, right? You just need to empower the people within the government to provide some of those things for themselves,
I've
right?
got an
So
idea.
an example, so an example,
all together.
an
We got 3 points.
example,
Let hold on. Dario, listen. Dario, wrap it up, then Sultan.
Sure, yeah. So an example of this is in Denmark, for example, where I live, you don't actually have a minimum wage in Denmark. And the reason why is because 70% of the people, of the workers, are unionized, right? So they have an ability to bargain with the employers, with the state, to make agreements where all the workers get their fair share or as much as they can bargain for, right?
You do realize that, like, every single argument that you're making now has been the
Hold
same
on,
arguments that's been made.
let Sultan go, then CTV.
Oh, I didn't hear him.
Okay, so I was saying I have an idea in the middle ground between both of your opinions, and it's basically gonna solve the whole buying land problem. And the thing is, you have to listen to LaRouche's World Bridge plan, which is to build a bridge between
What did you
Alaska
say?
and
I think it's
Russia,
good.
between Siberia and Russia, and that will solve all the infrastructure problems in the world. And second of all, that's not gonna cause any land buybacks or whatever because you're building it over ocean. And third of all, Charmhole, can you stop like doing those odd things because they're annoying me?
Yeah, I know. You're very weak and you're intimidated
let
by
CTV
my
go.
massive mass. I got 3 points and I'll be done for the rest of the point. I swear to God. 3 points.
No, CTV
Defund
goes
the
next,
Pentagon.
then Charmhole.
Inherit.
Shut up. CTV go.
Oh my God. Oh my
That
God.
was spiteful.
Bro.
He already was up next. Veteran, go.
Yeah, so every argument that you guys have been making are the same arguments that's been made along the way that's led us to where we are now. So you got to start looking at these things more like a statesman and the office in which you're representing, right? Versus, and this goes for anybody running for any type of public office, and the people need to understand what the purposes are of those public offices, because the reality of the situation is that our government is set up.
Hey, Sultan, shut the fuck up. What are you doing?
So if you, the fact of the matter is that the people. Why does that keep happening?
Sultan, don't make me mute you. Stop.
We can hear ourselves.
If it doesn't, okay, thank you.
All right.
The same type of systems that you have put into place now have led us to where we are. Right? You have to look. Our system is written to where you don't or should not have to trust the people. You should only have to trust the laws that are written and the responsibilities that the offices that the people hold there, so that it holds the people as close to away from corruption as you possibly can. That way you don't have to trust the people. That's the whole reason why a lot of the shit that we have here is written the way that it is. So you trust the office, you don't have to trust the person.
Okay, listen, we're gonna let Charmhole go, and then Eris Ann is trying to avoid the heat being placed on her. Eris Ann's going after. Go ahead, Charm.
3 points. That's it. I'm done, and I'll win this round. All right? Defund the Pentagon. Defund the Pentagon. I'm bringing everybody's points together. Defund the Pentagon. It's just that easy. 2, inheritance tax now. Inheritance tax now. The rich are too damn rich. And how? Thomas Piketty, Capital, 21st Century. Listen to the audiobook if you can't read. He says inheritance is the main issue. This is why Trump hated Romney, because he wanted to come after his inheritance. What happens is generation after generation, the wealth keeps going into the same family. It gets concentrated. Nobody else gets the money. All right? Inheritance tax now. And 3, the rent is too damn high. Our entire justice system, including what we just talked about in the last topic, our entire justice system is based on land. That's it. Land is justice. If you own land, you own the police. Rent is too damn high. This is why. 3 points. Defund the Pentagon. Inheritance tax now. Rent is too damn high. I should see the rest of my time. Thank you.
Eris and
you have-
you
Oh,
have
sure,
been
sorry.
avoiding being called on this whole time. What is your take, and why do you think everyone here is a dumb fuck except you? Go ahead.
Well, I've worked for a lot of defense contractors, so I have a bit of a mixed view here. Because I do agree that our infrastructure is pretty shit, but at the same time, I like getting paid.
Bro.
Okay, that was
Self-report.
Okay, now we are going to vote. We are done with this topic. We're gonna move on to the next one. Chat, vote. Who do you want to keep, not kick? And when we're done, the judges are gonna announce the winner of the round in their view. The winner of the round is going to be able to eliminate the two lowest people in the bottom, or one of the two, I should say. So here we go. Vote to keep, not kick. Everybody vote right now.
Yo, can I just say, Chris, I really like your mustache. Good
Okay, we're not. I'm playing the music now, and let's wait for the result to come in. All right, that wraps up the voting. The audience has voted, and the results are now in. So I'm gonna give my vote. My vote happens also to be the people's champion, which is Jackson Hinkle. That's my vote. Henry, go ahead and give yours.
My vote's gonna have to be for the veteran again.
Luca.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say the veteran as well. This is how this is going.
All right. Now, Jackson, in the bottom two, we have, and this can't be true. I mean, maybe it's glitched or something. Charmhole, who has received 0 votes, and Dario are in the bottom two. Now,
Rigged.
I don't know how that's possible. Not a single person voted for him. That must be a glitch. I'm not even kidding. Is that a
He didn't even
glitch?
vote for himself.
I know. I voted for myself. I don't. It's
Yeah,
literally.
that's
rigged.
weird. That's weird. I'm looking at the results
Literally.
now. Does anyone see other results?
Recount.
You voted for Charm. So people are saying they voted for Charmhole in the chat, and yet he is showing up with 0 votes.
Don't worry, that midnight ballot drop will come in for him.
That is very strange.
Monka? Defund the Pentagon?
Stop the steal.
That's very, very mysterious. I don't know if there's interference from unknown actors. We are looking into the Russian hacking of voter machines, ladies and gentlemen. Someone has it out for Moscow has it out for Charmhole, apparently. He has 0 votes. This absolutely makes no sense.
Monka.
Who left? Dario?
No, I'm here.
Who just left? Oh, okay.
No, it was Tanky.
All right. That's really weird. I'm not gonna lie. That's extremely weird. Charmhole still has 0 votes. They updated a little bit. This is quite a unforeseen. Is there something better than straw poll? Because this
popped up. It came up for me now.
What does it
I
say?
got him with 13.
Okay, he's got votes. Charmhole's got many votes actually. So the bottom two are now Eris, Ann, and Dario are in the bottom two. And we're just gonna have to roll with that. Eris, Ann, and Dario. Jackson, who do you want to eliminate?
Eris.
Is that
You're
your
just
final
quiet.
decision?
And you're probably fucking fed, so we'll get rid of you.
Okay, it looks like Jackson has spoken.
Such a fuck boy.
Eris, why don't you give some closing remarks,
Hey,
shout
Santa.
out your channel, and tell us, what you thought about the show and if you're going to be on next week. Go ahead.
This was my first panel, so it was fun. I don't really have much to shout out. I have a cool Twitter list where all of the politics streamers are on there, so you can follow that and watch them argue in real time. But that's all I've got.
All right, Eris, and do you want to also give some closing remarks about how the panel made you feel? All right. Now.
That was so obvious,
Yeah,
dude.
shut up. Now we are moving to our next round and our next topic. And as a turn of events, we are actually moving it back to Kyle Rittenhouse and the trial surrounding it. But this time, we want to focus some attention. Instead of the trial and the verdict, I want to hear your thoughts and your disagreements about social media's response to Kyle Rittenhouse in the court. We saw a famous tweet by LeBron James, the basketball player, mocking Rittenhouse for crying. Has social media gone too far in bullying Kyle Rittenhouse for crying and other examples of his suffering? Or have they not gone far enough? Was LeBron James' response justified?
He was soy. He was soy. That's all I'm gonna say on this. He was acting soy, and he should have gotten bullied even more. That was, come on.
Based. I agree with you.
I think if you have the opinion that a kid who just shot two people, who is very obviously emotionally having a breakdown as his life is on the line in a fucking court case, and like his life is left to a jury, and you're just having fun of that and thinking he's faking it, taking pot shots at him on national TV, you're a piece of shit, and you probably don't have much experience. You probably don't have much experience with people who have emotional trauma.
One at a time. Let Yas go, then Dario.
Dario, can I ask you something? Why do you feel bad for? Okay, I understand that you like. I understand.
Just basic human decency.
I get that. What do you mean human decency? The guy's gonna be a millionaire after he sues the media. I'm not. I don't feel bad for fucking anyone who's gonna get rich as fuck for fucking getting like lawsuits off.
That's exactly why you need to develop some empathy in your life.
Listen, if you don't have empathy for people who have a literal emotional breakdown right in front of your eyes and you can only laugh at them, dude, you're a piece of shit.
Hold on. Sultan, what is going on? You gotta mute your mic, and I don't know what's happening, but it's very distracting.
You can just hear ourselves in this mic. That's what's happening. There's feedback every
Sultan,
time he is unmuted.
Mute your mic unless you're gonna talk.
Push to talk. Go to push to talk.
Okay, there we go. Continue.
No, listen. It's very simple, right? If you have any experience with people who have faced trauma, who have emotional breakdowns, if you have any experience with any kinds of people who have these things, it's very obvious the kid was experiencing extreme stress. The same thing happened when he... Dude, there's another one. Yes, now we can hear ourselves in your mic.
Okay, it should be good now. My bad.
Yeah, sure. Listen, again, if you have any experiences dealing with these kinds of people who are experiencing these things, it's very obvious that's what he was experiencing. He wasn't crying crocodile tears, and it's very disgusting to see people with millions of followers just taking pot shots at a fucking kid, dude. Seriously.
One of the things that actually made me really happy about...
It's all a game.
Okay, wait. Let Yas respond for a final time, then CTV.
I disagree with you, Dario, on the fact that you said they weren't crocodile tears. I literally know people. I literally have trauma myself, and I think for 100%, this shit is all a show. This shit, he knows this shit is televised. I think it's naive to think that he was actually like that. There's no fucking inner meaning to his crying on national television in front of the jury. It's just naive. It's just naive.
Listen, if you think
he was crying for real, is that what you're saying?
Yes, of course. Yeah.
How the fuck? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you an expert now? How do you know if people are fake crying?
Wait, why would you assume he wasn't crying for real? Let's put it like that. But I don't have information from inside his brain, right? If I don't have the information, I won't assume malice, right? If you can see the way that he's acting and the way, I mean, listen, I have a ton of friends who have emotional issues. I've seen many emotional breakdowns. I've had them myself, right? Listen, I just think it's it's like toxic masculinity on steroids, saying that, oh, because he's crying, it must be he's faking it, right? Because he's a man, he just shot people, right? He shouldn't be crying. It's just toxic masculinity.
You've had emotional. You shouldn't be crying. I just don't think the tears were real at all.
He's a pussy little bitch hog, and if I wasn't banned on Twitter, that's what I would tweet out.
Listen.
How brave of you.
They were definitely real tears. I saw a video of him getting interrogated the night that the shooting happened. He was crying the same exact way. All I gotta say is, what the fuck is wrong with the mic?
Sultan, what on earth is going on? what are you doing? Mute your mic.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All I got to say is Lakers are 8-8. LeBron is averaging the lowest points per game in his entire career. He should focus on the Lakers rather than making fun of Kyle Rittenhouse.
Yeah.
Hold on. One moment. Yankee Tanky, is there a reason you're not cammed up or? Thank you. Appreciate it.
Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't cammed up. I apologize.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Continue.
Yeah, so like one of the things, like LeBron James coming out and saying what he said, he's a dumbass. He's an absolute fucking dumbass. The Kyle Rittenhouse case is a clear situation where individuals from all backgrounds should be able to see, right, what defending yourself looks like. And I'm very, very happy that the jury came back the way that they did today. I feel like justice was served. But one of the things that was happening along the way that, quite frankly, I'm very happy to see out of the Twitch politics community. And maybe this is just where, like, I don't follow everyone in the Twitch politics community, but most of the people that I saw were understanding, right? They, like, those weren't crocodile tears, and making fun of him for crying and having an emotional reaction was not the way to go about things. And so for the ones that I saw, very, very fucking base when I saw that in the community here.
The only thing that I think was worse than just making fun of his tears is the people who made the fucking jokes about him being, how do I say this, in prison, right? Like dropping the soap and stuff. Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Literally, you're literally laughing at the prospect of a kid, like 17 when he did the thing, 18 now, him being violated in prison. You're laughing at that, like, seriously, dude. Like, Jesus Christ.
He's a murderer. He's a teenager who is now an adult who is a murderer.
It becomes antithetical to what the left typically fucking promotes, right? They say that, you know, consent is very important.
Exactly.
And sexuality doesn't actually matter, right? So if you want to do that thing, like, go for it. It doesn't matter.
Except if it's somebody who except if it's a kid that you disagree with, right? Or you think that, yeah.
Yeah, he was 17. That's not a kid. All right, that's a teenager.
Whoa.
It's okay for a 17-year-old.
We have to say legally,
Is that the take that you want to do?
I'm sorry. Did he just go on trial as an adult?
Yes, barely 18 years old.
Okay, then he's not a kid. By Wisconsin.
Honestly,
he's not a kid.
Dude, I can't believe that. Dude, he is 18 and one day old, no longer a kid. Like, we can't morally.
He tried as an adult.
There's a difference between legally a kid, legally an adult, and morally, dude. Like, seriously.
I think the reactions. I think the reactions on Twitter are indicative of a decadent society. Why? Because instead of looking at the facts, instead of having a citizenry that is enlightened, that looks and says, okay, judgment's going to be served. Let's take a look at the evidence presented. Instead, they go to the memes. They make jokes. They make fun. I don't know if the tears were real or not. I'm not a judge. I'm not there to figure this out. I've seen fake tears before. We remember the girl from Kuwait who came, the daughter of the ambassador, who came in front of the Congress crying, oh my God, Saddam is taking the babies and throwing them in the hospital. And then guess what? All fake. All fake. Wallah, it was fake. So let me tell you this. I don't know the veracity. What I can tell you is this. The society that we live in now, decadent, 100%. 100% that they make fun of this shit, that they don't research, that there's everybody who claims no investigation, no right to speak. Nobody investigates now. Everything is 160 words. Everything is a meme. Everything is a GIF. And for me, that's highly problematic. That's where we are. We're in a society in decline, in my opinion, culturally. And this is a spectacle. And it's a spectacle.
Everything is a GIF.
It's a spectacle.
Yeah.
It's a spectacle.
Everything is a GIF.
It's not a GIF.
A lot of people on the internet that just fucking lack empathy and, like, I don't know, they're emotionally stunted or something. I mean, either way, it doesn't even matter if he's a kid or not.
I think
it doesn't matter if he's like a kid or an adult. Like, it's just fucking disgusting and like morally reprehensible to just accuse someone of fake crying, especially when they're clearly in distress. Like, that's just disgusting.
Oh no, my morals. The principle of the earth is gonna yell at me for having bad morals. I am choosing not to have empathy for a murderer.
Okay, Chris, I think I'm gonna go even farther than that. I just don't think
because you could probably so closely identify with Joseph Rosenbaum.
Let him talk. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't think the trial should have been a spectacle at all. I mean, you literally had MSNBC literally following the jurors in a fucking bus as they were leaving. Like, this is
think it was
not like
wrong.
a trial. It's
Sultan,
not a,
we can hear
fucking
ourselves
trial
again,
anymore. It's a
Sultan.
show. So it's like, how are you gonna actually administer real justice if like everything about the
Sultan,
trial is
mute
just
your
to
mic.
show for more views and like it's just.
I agree. It's a tabloid
Sultan,
culture. This is
Mike.
the culture. This is the culture. National Enquirer, tabloid. This is, and you know what? It's stoked on both sides. It's stoked by the ruling class. That's how you should think about this. It's stoked by not only MSDNC, but also by Fox. It's the Murdochs of the world. It's the Robert Maxwell's, Ghislaine's father. Remember Robert Maxwell, big media baron.
Chris, the issue is
IVF
that
and pedophiles. Come on.
I'm sorry.
Think.
Yeah, I just want to say, Chris, the issue is that it wasn't just the mainstream media, right? Like, I will agree, right? In this case, I just wrote about it on Twitter, right? The mainstream media was actually terrible in reporting on pretty much everything in terms of like the Kyle Rittenhouse case, right? But the issue is that the alternative media, fucking YouTubers, Twitch streamers, Twitter, fucking politics, everybody was fucking terrible. Like 99% of people were fucking abhorrent when it came to these things, right? And it wasn't even mainstream media that we're talking about, right? Like LeBron James isn't mainstream media. Like, he's just a fucking...
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I agree with
And
you.
so was Kyle.
I agree with you. No doubt.
I think the responses to this case just show how unimportant and potentially damaging it is for the layman to be giving comment and try to give like nuanced comment on a case like this as it's unrolling, because they're not exposed to all the facts. You saw the Young Turks go out and say that Kyle Rittenhouse was the one chasing an individual in the first place. I saw popular YouTubers saying that first guy threw a brick at Kyle Rittenhouse when he threw a bag at Kyle Rittenhouse. I think people should just shut the fuck up until the jury rules and accept it for what it is.
Dude, Bill de Blasio,
I can only assume that all week, Jackson Hinkle, that you have not said one thing at all about the trial. All last couple of weeks has been going on.
Only one thing I ever said about the trial was that Anna Kasparian lied about Kyle Rittenhouse being the person who was chasing the individual in the first place, and I actually came to Kyle's defense on that point. That was the only thing I ever said.
Well, the point that I'm making is that people do have opinions and people do need to talk about these things. The fact of the matter is, though, is that the people that choose to have the lack of empathy beforehand, right? I feel like they can choose to make that decision. But the fact of the matter is now is that the jury, right, decided that Kyle Rittenhouse was not guilty on all charges. So the fact that Charmhole decides that he wants to say that he's going to choose to not feel empathy means that he doesn't believe in any part of the system of justice that we operate here in the United States. Or perhaps maybe he should find a different fucking country to live in.
No, I'd rather fix my own instead of, just be a propaganda recruitment officer for the fucking Navy.
Right.
Right?
So since the system worked as designed and justice was served today and the young man didn't go to fucking jail for defending his own life, I don't know how you could want the system to operate in any other way. Because that's what happened. The majority, right? The overwhelming fucking majority of the nation went today and they went, yeah, that's pretty fucking base. That's the way it should have came out. And the reason why... Go ahead.
CTV, no, the issue is that that's not the case, right? If you look at polling data on the Kyle Rittenhouse case and all this, like, the majority of the United States wanted him convicted for something. Right? I believe it was like 60-something% of people actually wanted him convicted of some charge, right? So the issue is that it's actually the minority, right? To say that he should have walked on all accounts, right? And the issue is that the mainstream media is here like on the side of like he should have been convicted for something. Like we've got fucking Bill de Blasio saying the justice system is rigged. We've got like fucking alternative media. Like who do we listen to? Like where would you get your information if not from these places? Like if the alternative media is fucked, if mainstream media is fucked, if fucking 70% of the country is fucked, like where do you go?
Well, where do you go?
Form your own opinion like
there
a
are more
Chad.
fans in this country than there
Where
are
you-
humans.
Okay, he asked me the question, right? So where you go, Dario, is to the places to the places that help you learn different ways of thinking. That way, as you're intaking the information, you can filter it and put it in its appropriate fucking place. Because there's always going to be dumbasses out there selling snake oil. You know what I mean? So
you go for nuanced and
panel
based
that
opinions, you go on InfraredShow.
I think we all agreed at the start of this panel, though, that the court of public opinion doesn't really matter. So I don't even understand like why we're so caught up in following this case when following it doesn't really do anything to advance the issues we all care about, even if we disagree on them.
Bro,
Even I agree, Jackson. Like, even if the fucking verdict went the opposite way, nothing would change at all. Like, what would that change for me, bro?
And nothing will change.
Any of
None
you,
of-
like that shit. That wouldn't change any. Like, what would
None of
change?
the material conditions would change. None of them.
Yeah, nothing would change.
listen,
Okay, but
this is what. Oh, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
But also like what sorry, crap, I don't know. Daria, what Daria was saying, I mean, it's kind of reasonable though, isn't it, to like, I mean, most people wanted him charged with something. That doesn't necessarily mean they wanted him charged with like murder or homicide or whatever. I mean, I would have preferred if he was charged with like something at least too, like, I don't know, bringing the gun across like state lines or something, but not necessarily like murder or homicide or anything. I mean, I think that's reasonable too.
This is why ATV was right when he said that I think that the entire system needs to be changed.
I think most people wanted the truth to prevail and justice be served. I don't want anyone to be charged for something they're not guilty of. And if they ruled that, you know, according to the law, that whatever the nuance in the state law was surrounding short barrel modded guns, that he's not guilty of having that gun and carrying that gun, then he shouldn't be charged.
Well, the issue is, Anna,
People need to bully him more.
The issue is, Anna, that he didn't like. There's so much misinformation spread it about this topic already. Like, just random people just trying to follow don't even like actually know what happened, right? So you brought up like him bringing the gun across state lines, right? That actually didn't happen, right? That was revealed in court. It didn't happen. But like, I would bet you like 80% of people actually think that happened still.
We are in, I don't know if you guys know this, but we're in the age of information. And right now we're on a panel with a whole bunch of people connected with light, all right, and sound. And it's incredible and it's very fast. And every single person here who's like, we need to rein it down a little bit as you're promoting yourself and propagandizing yourself on
Darmo,
such...
shut the fuck up. Don't critique the fucking mod.
Well, no. So, like, look, this when you say, oh, well, we need to just shut up about all cases, right? Like all the justice system. No, we need to put them on blast more, faster, harder, right? Put them on 4K every single time. Every time you're going to protest, 4K at all.
We've been putting pressure on cases.
Nothing that alienates people more from your side than throwing bad faith attacks against systems, right?
We have been
Because
throwing
bad
individual
faith
connects our
attacks
neurons.
that are misinformation against the system. Everybody can see you're lying, and nobody's going to join your side. Why not?
Lies exist. Okay, so false positives exist. You're like crying because lies exist. Like, okay, and
I'm not crying. I'm saying I actually want progressive change to happen in the United States of America, right? But that isn't happening. That isn't happening if you're trying to get there by peddling misinformation and lies.
Yas
because
goes
everybody
next.
can see right through you.
Yas, go ahead.
We've been so Charmhole, we've been televising multiple like individual cases about that. All are like, it's always the case of the decade or whatever, right? We got how many cases? What have we gotten out of all of those cases? Like, literally, what have we gotten from televising those cases, making it a national spectacle? What have we gained from that? Actually, any material
where we are now,
what
and
material benefits have we gained from making these cases like a national, whole-wide, week-wide event? What have we gained?
Well, I learned that an overwhelming amount of Americans are pro Kyle, and personally, I think that's fucking cringe.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing.
First of all, that's not even material, but okay.
Listen. You want to know the real material benefits?
My neurons are material. That my neurons are real.
These corporations have raked in the dough. These corporations have raked in all that cash.
Exactly.
Corporation bad.
Not only think about every court case. It's a critique of our society. It's a critique.
Yeah, I hate Twitter too. Like I don't know. Like
the main thing is this: instead of people really going out there reading, and I didn't, so that's why I'm not speaking about it. I don't know. I only saw a couple hours of the trial. I didn't read all the court filings. There's a lot of paperwork there. There's a lot of paperwork, a lot of testimony. I'm sure a lot of screenshots, images, legalese. Most people aren't capable of going into that.
And this is why I said the justice system needs to be reformed completely, because it's based on land. Land equals justice. Every single person who is in that theater, a literal theater, right, of people going, is he guilty? Is he not guilty? Right? This theater lets them pay rent. Okay, they want that legalese. They want the attention. They want all the propaganda for their case, for their stuff. They want to be trending on Twitter every single fucking day because I guarantee you more people are going to be buying Wisconsin cheese because of Rittenhouse murdering people.
Dude, Charmhole, the issue isn't actually what you're saying. The issue is the opposite of what you said, right? Because the opposite is actually true. The majority of Americans agree with you about Kyle, right? That's the issue. They agree with you. The majority of Americans agree with you, and they're insanely dumb because they don't know like 90% of the facts of the case. They don't know what happened. They didn't even watch the videos. All they did was read the fucking headlines of mainstream media articles, and they were brainwashed just like you sound on this panel.
Brainwashed?
Wait,
What? In comparison to what? In comparison to what? No, real quick. In comparison to what? How were people brainwashed 100 years ago?
Wrap it
200
up,
years
then
ago, and they
Yas
couldn't
goes
even
again.
fucking read.
Yas,
Sorry,
go ahead.
Okay, I have a question for the entire panel, right? Okay, give me just a percentage. How much? Like, how many people do you think are still going to be thinking about the Rittenhouse trial in 2 to 3 weeks? Like a percentage of people.
Less than 5%.
I'll still be mad. I'll say 5%. I'll still be mad because I'll be a part of them.
So like, what has actually changed? And let's say even if the verdict was flipped, like let's say he actually did get convicted for murder, would people still be thinking about him 2 to 3 weeks? No, because this shit does not matter at all. It's it's just like it doesn't change anything. These are just spectacles to get MSNBC more money. When Van Jones goes to CNN and starts crying, he's getting like what? He's fucking building his brand as like a protector. He's just like fucking like
what?
Which crime?
It's just for money. It's just for
Which crime?
Everyone is a
no
grifter.
material changes come, and they've never come out of the years and years of trials that we've gotten. Literally.
Subscribe.
All right, now we're gonna stay on topic, but we're gonna shift gears a little bit on the topic, and we're gonna ask the following question: why is it that Twitter is so invested in Kyle Rittenhouse, whether he's good or bad? Go ahead.
Twitter will
makes
do
a lot of money.
literally anything except going out into the real world, organizing and doing real politics. They will find anything else except those things.
Oh, you guys are insane.
Twitter is invested in its own profits and its own power, and therefore, if it's not Rittenhouse, it's Donald Trump's tweets. If it's not Donald Trump, it's somebody else. They will find some topic, somebody, so that they can generate the people, the views, the content that they need to make a fortune.
It's
Kyle
outrage.
Rittenhouse is only a pawn. It's a pawn in a
outrage
monopoly.
culture.
Yeah,
it's outrage
and it's based.
Monopoly.
It's outrage culture.
And it's based.
Or maybe some people just actually care about the case.
All right, we are going to either wrap.
If they actually listen. If
I
people
need to
actually
say
care
my
about
last bit. I need to say my last bit here. The reason why I think Twitter's so invested in this, it ties back to the initial discussion we were having. That being that the mainstream media and so many in progressive or independent media have lied about this case. Therefore, they cannot believe the outcome of this case. But I think if there was either people not focusing on this or the truth was put forward from the start, then people wouldn't be losing their minds over this.
Let me ask you a question. Twitter, what purpose does it serve in terms of a function of power? It serves to atomize us. It serves to destroy communities. It serves to isolate us. It serves for us all to be in our little prisons we call our apartments and homes, and not to do what? Not to be in community, not to be out there organizing in our communities, having a dance in our community, drinking beers with our neighbors. Nobody does that anymore. Everybody's invested in their phone, in their computers. Look at us here. You know?
All right,
that's the whole thing.
Chris, I want to take you out to get a beer sometime.
All right, we are closing this topic up, and we are voting to keep, not kick chat. I'm gonna give you 1.5 minutes to vote to keep, not kick. The judges will deliberate, and we will decide who we consider to be the winner of the round. Begin voting now. Who to keep, not kick of this round. The critically thinking veteran. Henry, go ahead.
I'm going to have to go with Chris VT this time.
Luca.
Chris VT is definitely a worthy member of the Horde. He's a winner.
Okay. All right, Chris TV is officially the winner of the round. And in the bottom two, we currently have Dario and Yankee Tanky. So Chris TV, it's going to be between Dario and Yankee Tanky.
Wait, wait, is that true?
Yeah.
Wait, no, Sultan is below me, right?
No, he's not. Sultan is not here because I'll explain it. Just it's 4% for actually Yas. 4% for Yas and 6% for Dario. Or sorry, Yankee Tanky and Dario.
I've got Sultan.
Sultan is gone. Don't forget about Sultan right now. He's gone.
Wait, refresh, Haas.
Refresh.
Carmel at the top, baby.
Dario, Yas, and Yankee Tanky. Okay, so it's neck and neck. We already it's flip of the coin.
Okay,
Dario versus Yankee Tanky. Which one, Chris TV? We're talking about. There's a new poll that we have in the chat. The straw poll. Forget about that one.
My man Yankee, I didn't hear you speak too much that round. I love you.
All right, Yankee. Wants you to shout yourself out and give some closing remarks really quick. You're muted. You're currently muted.
Okay, it should be working now, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So I want to give my closing remarks first. I just want to say this is one of those issues, quite honestly, when it comes to Rittenhouse stuff that.
Oh no, not on the topic. Just just final word, final thoughts, and then shout yourself out. Yeah.
Okay, so my final remarks is that thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity to be here in this debate. I just wanted to thank Haas in particular for inviting me. And I'm going to give a quick shout out to the John Brown volunteers out here in New York City doing the good work to preach socialism to the masses. If you want to follow us, you can follow us either on Twitter at JB Volunteers. Instagram is also JB Volunteers. And we have a Facebook page, The John Brown Volunteers. My personal stuff, you can follow me on Twitter, Yankee Tanky. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel where I put out some content, and I'd love to have you guys follow me on there.
All right. Thank you, Yankee Tanky. Good having you.
Based.
Fine. All right, guys. So Sultan lives in a Middle Eastern country where there's not electricity 24 hours. So his battery actually just ran out on his phone. So that's why Sultan is currently gone. But
7.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that he can't participate the whole time, but it's just a fact of life. And it is what it is. But hopefully next time, we can GoFundMe him a generator or something, and he'll be able to go through the whole round. Okay, so guys, for our next topic, we are actually going to discuss. We're not going to discuss, by the way. We're going to fucking battle about whether Americans should vote for one of the two major parties, either the Democrats or the Republicans. Should Americans vote Democrat? Or conversely, should they?
I think everybody's going to agree.
Should they vote? Shut up! Shut the fuck up. Or should they vote Republican? Or should they vote neither? The question is, should they vote for one of the two major parties as the vehicle to realize their goals for this country? Take it away.
Yeah, so at this point, the only thing that the people need to understand that I don't think is understood as much, right, is that the Libertarian Party is not just a meme. It's actually on the ballot in all 50 states. The party needs to get some real organization behind it, because what has been happening through the media is just been both sides play in the middle for a long ass time. And I think that's where a lot of the takes for people end up lying, is somewhere in the fucking middle. So instead of just sitting here and just, the Libertarian Party is just a meme, right? Take a real look at it. If it does anything, then bring both two sides back closer to the middle, which is exactly what we need as a fucking nation.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree.
The Libertarian Party?
The what?
What's the Libertarian Party?
They got the little snake. They got the little snake. Little snake.
No, like, I'm serious. Wait, do you mean like
a hedgehog?
party?
Isn't it like a hedgehog or porcupine?
A little snake.
It's a porcupine, yeah.
Porcupine.
Yeah.
Listen, I understand.
Yeah. Yes, Libertarian Party, Anna, there's the Democrat Party, there's the Republican Party, and the Libertarian Party, right? The Green Party,
And the Communist
Reform
Party.
Party. Like some of these other ones, they're not really like in the system, but
And
the
the
Libertarian
Communist
Party
Party.
actually is. The Communist Party's not on the ballot in all 50 states.
That is true. That's why we got to organize it. Get on the ballot.
Right.
No.
So
Okay, wait.
instead of
We're falling
but you're
off
just
hard,
gonna be
dude.
reinventing the wheel with that, Chris. It would make much more sense to take advantage of the infrastructure, right? We were just talking about uses of resources and infrastructure in one of the last topics about, even if it's just fucking co-opting the Libertarian Party to bring both sides back to the fucking middle, because the media, through the political fucking game, has only just created the very divisiveness that we're talking about here on Twitter. So this all ends up coming back around, and the Libertarian Party, which Anna wasn't aware of, Anna, it's a thing now, it'll lead to some research, I'm sure. And, and then that's how, like, you learn what's in place to be able to use it, and then that's how you start to be able to enact change on things.
If the mods agree with you and vote for you again, I'm gonna unironically scream "rig" until I get banned, because
Charmel, shut the fuck up.
So
Don't
wrong.
fucking complain about the mods. Continue.
I'm not complaining. I'm complaining.
Shut the
about
fuck up,
the
Charmel. Off topic. Off topic. Off topic. Off topic. Off topic. Off topic.
Make a good argument.
Go.
Okay, I'll actually make an
no,
argument.
here's my argument. He's completely fucking wrong, because the entire reason why Bernie was so big and why he failed was because he didn't make his own party. He didn't make the Bernie-crats. He had the ability. He had the money. He had the people. He had most importantly, the movement for everybody to move together to make a new party, and fuck the Democrats and fuck the Republicans. And here you are, is like, yeah, throw your vote away. Yeah, more libertarians. Guys, no, it's not a meme. I swear to God. It's been 40 fucking years. They have like 3 national offices, like, people in office. Like,
Bernie sold his movement. Bernie sold his movement out and went back to the Democrats.
I still get texts.
Bernie really fucked up.
I fucking volunteered for Bernie in 2016. I volunteered for Bernie in 2016, and now I get fucking spam emails from lib candidates who are running for some bumfuck position like county judge. Like, he sold. Like when Chris VT says that he sold out the movement, he literally sold the fucking donor rolls and all that.
I live in Vermont.
Yeah,
I live in Vermont. Bernie's my senator. He sold out all of us who worked hard on the ground, who said this is not about Bernie. This is about a movement, right? He sold them out. Why?
Don't listen. Focus on what divides you, not what unites you. This is not a fucking place where we all feel good about each other and suck each other off. Continue.
I got to listen.
So the thing that no one is saying here, which is what you guys need to recognize, is not whether you vote for a third party or one of the 2 major parties. We need to have a party that is free of corporate control. And by virtue of that, we can recognize that the 2 major parties aren't those things. But our problems will not be solved until we have a party that answers to the needs of the American people rather than corporate America.
And that's why, like, it's important to get money out of politics, right?
The issue with this,
instead of continuing to like allow the types of conversations that have corporations be recognized as individuals and having individual rights, when we all know that that's complete fucking honky horse shit. Right. And there's no reason at all for the corporation to have the same rights as an individual person.
So does anyone here disagree with the view that you should not vote for one of the 2 parties?
I disagree. But
then
I can't
speak
get
the
a word
fuck up.
I'm trying. So everybody in here who's advocating for right now in the United States of America voting for a third party is absolutely delusional, because there are structures in place right now in the United States of America which will make sure that there will never ever realistically be a third party that comes to power. So your only way to actually get meaningful change, progressive change, or libertarian change, whatever you want, CTV, right? The only way is to go through one of the major parties. And I'll actually make the argument, because I did do some research for this topic, right?
But I think that's the difference.
Wait, I didn't finish my argument. If you actually care about promoting third parties as a concept, not just one third party, but third parties as because listen, I come from Denmark. We have fucking 12 political parties. If you want that for the US,
who the fuck just left?
He just died. Dario.
What the fuck?
They got him.
Was it me?
I don't know,
Yeah,
Dario.
cam up.
Okay.
I was like ingrained in like just listening and waiting, and then
Sorry.
like you just fucking
I
left.
did a CTV. I did a CTV. Okay, suspense. It's building
Oh,
suspense.
I see.
Okay?
I see. I'm
Okay.
glad I'm.
If
Yeah.
you actually want to promote the concept of third parties in the US, you need to go through the Democratic Party, right? Because the Democrats have a vested interest in promoting things like ranked choice voting, which will in turn give the ability for people to actually vote for third parties at elections, right? So if you actually care about third parties, you have to go through the Democrats, because the Democrats have shown that they are open to implementing stuff like ranked choice voting.
Here's what I'm going to tell you: you're incorrect,
doesn't
because
change
even the most progressive elements of the Democratic Party, such as they claim to be, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was one of the 3 founding board members of the Justice Democrats, and explicitly in their mission statement, one of their core projects was to promote ranked choice voting from within a Justice Democrat sort of committee in Congress. That all of which she has completely abandoned by supporting HR 1, which actually hurts third parties' chances of having any sort of electoral success significantly. So they're actually anti-third party now, the same people who used to support pro-third party things.
Jackson, are you familiar with the system in Maine? How they do ranked choice voting there?
Yes.
Sure. So in Maine,
Pushing back on this notion that you put forward that Democrats have a vested interest in having
exactly.
ranked
I'm
choice
explaining
voting.
why. I'm explaining why. Listen. So in Maine is, to my knowledge, right now still, I believe, still the only state in the United States which has ranked choice voting for the state primary, congressional, and presidential elections, right? And when they actually managed to implement this, they managed to dethrone the Republican governor, I think, who was there for, I think, what was it, like 10 elections in a row. It was held by Republicans. And after they implemented ranked choice voting, in the first round of votes, it went to the Republican, but the Democrat actually edged him out because they implemented ranked choice voting. And now the Republicans are trying to repeal it because they see that once the American people have access to stuff like ranked choice voting, which again gives the ability for third parties to pop up, it actually helps Democrats, but it also inadvertently helps third parties be able to get on the ballot and actually gauge the amount of support that they could have amongst the American people. Because without ranked choice
your
voting,
argument though is
In
flawed.
New York City, bro. In New York City, we literally have ranked choice voting, and we're gonna get a cop as mayor. That didn't ranked choice voting doesn't mean shit if you don't have the people behind an actual movement. If you have no people there, you get ranked.
Nobody's saying.
Hold on, Dario. Hold on. Let me tell you one thing. The American people are waking up. You want to know why? You think that we're delusional. But the real ones that are delusional are the ruling class. Why? Everybody knows the Democrats and the Republicans both went on the Lolita Express. Those of you out there who know what the fuck I'm talking about know what's going on. The ruling class is involved in all sorts of crazy fucked up shit.
So Chris, I agree.
No. All I'm saying is this: they have lost their mandate to govern. That's it. It's gone.
Chris,
you said something. Now let me respond. I think you're incorrect because you said that they have a vested interest in pushing for ranked choice voting because it allows third parties to get on the ballot. I think the only reason why they supported ranked choice voting is because they wanted Democrats to win the governorship.
Exactly.
And the other thing you have to recognize is it's not just ranked choice voting. HR 1 hurts third parties in a myriad of complex ways, way beyond preventing ranked choice voting. And here's the last thing I'm going to say. The only reason why they allowed for ranked choice voting in Maine is because, to my knowledge, they're only allowing it for state and federal elections and district congressional elections. They don't allow it in local elections because local elections is where there's a real possibility for third parties to actually have popular access and backing to the ballot.
So,
how about this?
Let me just respond to what he said. Let me just respond. Just 1 second. Let me just respond. So Jackson, I actually agree with many things that you said, right? But you're kind of making my argument for me, right? Because if the sitting parties, if what they are doing right now to our knowledge, is they're trying to hinder the ability for third parties to come up, right? It's only making it harder for them, right? And if we are somebody who wants to see the ability for third parties come up, right, you have to go through the powers right now in place to promote those things, right? And I'm not saying the Democrats are going to promote third parties because they have some obligation to want third parties to come and dethrone them. No, I'm saying abuse the fact that the Democrats want to get greedy and they want to see stuff like ranked choice voting because they think they can win over Republicans, right? Abuse those things and go in like super secret agent co-op operation, right? And say like, hey, listen, yeah, we agree, let's do ranked choice voting, but then you have the ability to also promote your own candidates, right? And I agree. Listen, if they don't do it for local elections, they should, and you should.
Because here's the thing. So as I mentioned with HR1, there are a bunch of factors to elections and running campaigns that fall outside of voting in general. Like fundraising is a huge thing, and matching public funds with the funds that you raise in your campaign is a big component of how elections operate and how major parties disenfranchise third parties. So the reason why they only allow for third parties in state primaries and federal elections, or state elections and federal elections in Maine, is because there are those fundamental funding and public funding obstacles that disenfranchise third parties. You don't have those same obstacles on the local city council elections and county elections, which is why they don't allow for ranked choice voting in those areas. So Democrats don't have a vested interest in allowing third parties to win. They have a vested interest in positioning themselves into power.
Jackson, I'm not saying the ranked choice voting is the key to absolutely now you have a viable third party in the US, right? I'm not saying that. I'm saying what is the way that you can actually get third parties a bigger chance to set off, right? Because stuff like funding is always going to be an issue when you're running political candidates.
I have an idea as well.
You need stuff like on the news. People need to be aware of you, right? You need to pay for media, for all these things, right? But the issue, it's not the catch-all easy win. We get ranked choice voting, right? But what I'm simply advocating for is that you use the powers currently in place, lobby them to the best of your ability to give yourself a better chance.
How about
this is what I'm saying. This is the last thing I'll say. Here's the thing. It's not just ranked choice voting, right? And you were making the argument that ranked choice voting will allow third parties to potentially rise to power, and that's why we should vote for Democrats. I think if anything,
I'm just saying it's going to give them a better chance.
I think if anything, let me finish. I think if anything, the failures of all these progressive projects within the Democratic Party over the past few decades have shown us that the Democratic Party is not, in fact, the solution to achieving third party success, but it's the slaughterhouse for progressive movement. And 60+% of the American people support third parties. I think that the Democratic Party is not the answer and never will be.
But how are you going to convince people that they're not just throwing their vote away, though? Because that's what it seems like. A lot of people do feel that way. That
No,
like,
you're not
well, if
throwing
I
your
do vote for like a third party, it's going to be
Yeah,
like
but
throwing their vote away.
I don't have.
But the fact of the matter is that every the fact of the matter is that both fucking parties, right? You can already see is going to be fucking two sides of the same fucking coin. So if you know you're throwing your fucking vote away, then why not just fucking vote Libertarian and get a different fucking result? Because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over, like for the last 15 fucking minutes I've been listening to, and expecting a different fucking result, which is where I come in from the top fucking rope and tell everybody, vote Libertarian if you want something fucking different. And if you don't, then quit bitching about voting for two sides of the same fucking coin.
No, I don't think anyone was libertarian. I think the guy was the only one who was okay with that. I think instead of
revolution doesn't come overnight. It's about building political power. It's about building a movement. It's about doing things from the ground up.
Hold on. I'm just trying to say, why are you going to depend on two bourgeois parties when you can literally be in like liberating the actual working class, invigorating them, getting the votes from the working class?
Yes.
And in the meantime,
working class party is going to take over power?
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up and let him finish.
Why not join communist parties like the CPUSA? Fuck if they're not on every ballot in all 50 states. Join those parties.
I got an answer.
Workers, join the movement, and then you will be a force to reckon with in electoral politics. All right,
That's right.
you cannot
That's
go
right.
and tell
This
me
is what we try
that
to
you
do.
would rather join. the
Hey, one
British
at a
than
time.
try to change
Shut,
the
one at a
capitalist
time.
interest.
One at a time.
But
First,
this
Yas,
is how we
finish
do
your
it.
point. Then Dario, then Charmhole. And Chris TV, you want to say something too?
Yeah.
You
Put
go
me in the
after
queue.
I'm
Charmhole.
just
Go.
saying, quit trying to tell us that you should try to change capital interests, which the Democrat Party will basically always be beholden to. They will never want to fuck ranked choice, fuck anything. They will never want to help us. Look within ourselves and invigorate fellow workers, and that's all I have to say.
Listen, the issue is that the way that you're approaching this issue, Yas, is that you're approaching it with the mind of a child who's just learned about politics a year ago, right? The issue is that if you want to actually be serious about politics, if you want to make political change, you have to engage with the power structures that are currently in place. Because if you don't do that, all you're doing is LARPing with your friends in some fucking dumb fuck, I don't know, local community that can't even elect a local representative, right? Politics is about power, and the way that you get power is you take the power from the current institutions and you use the power to get what you want, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, hey, listen, you can't join the Communist Party, you can't join the Libertarian Party. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying be realistic. Join those organizations. Organize. Listen, I do organizing. I've done local politics. I've done these things, right? What I'm saying is also engage with the powers currently in place to give yourself the best chance you can to make some change.
Boring. This is what we need to do. How about this?
Hey, no. Charmhole's
this
next.
system.
Charmhole's next. Go ahead.
So, how about this? This is all we got to do. All right. Again, here I am, bridging ideas, bridging gaps, bringing people together. This is what we need to do. Third party? How about no party? All right. This is what we do. We take cryptocurrency, we take NFTs, and we inject that into the system. We delete the parties, and it's a fucking free for all. All right. I want an NFT for CPUSA, for Communist Party, for fucking Haas, Sultan Haas. I want him governor of fucking Michigan, right? I want to fucking get up there. I want to go.
Talk
like,
about dick
just
sucking.
say fuck it. Like, everybody's like, oh, we got to go through the system, or oh, just no, third party, guys. Don't worry, Green Party.
I actually want to make political change instead of
We've
just
lost
LARP
5
on
generations in a
Twitter.
row, but this time will be different.
Actually
No, we
trying
need
to
to
get
take it.
progressive
We need to
policies passed.
take
No,
all
I
of this
want a
energy,
LARP.
all
I
this
want a
digital
LARP on
energy,
Twitter.
and we need to push it
I wanna
forward.
jerk
And we
off
need to
my
make a
friends on
movement. We need to
Twitter.
make a real positive, real fucking movement. All right, let's go.
We need to get massive worker strikes.
Yes, worker strikes.
Massive worker strikes.
Listen, crypto is not salvation. Crypto is enslavement again.
You were being serious
The
about the crypto
matrix
thing?
inside the matrix.
Bro,
Come on.
Chris,
Come on.
Let Chris finish. Everyone shut up and let him finish. Everybody shut the fuck up right now and let Chris finish. Go, Chris.
Thank you, comrade. Listen, crypto, who controls crypto? The same corporate bastards, the same multinational corporations. What do you think? Goldman Sachs doesn't have crypto? What do you think? Morgan Stanley doesn't have crypto? Who holds the most crypto? All the big billionaires. They're holding
All the crypto is.
Listen. Crypto is
bro.
also attached to material reality, right? You're not gonna. What are you gonna do? You're gonna transact to the farmer in crypto? Get the fuck out of here. Get in reality.
That's literally what they're doing.
Controls your
Nobody's
crypto
doing it.
and
But listen,
controls your
yes.
ass.
But
Elon
listen,
Musk
crypto-
controls your ass.
Elon, another one. Deep state. Watch out.
care.
Watch out.
No.
No, listen, you know what you have to
Listen.
do? You have to fucking starve the capitalists of their fucking capital. And you know the only fucking way to do that is massive worker protests. You gotta starve them of their capital.
Okay, before we go off topic,
Massive
Listen,
worker
hold on.
protests.
everyone shut up. Everyone shut the fuck up. Everybody shut the fuck up. So it's clear to me that besides Dario, most people here are for a third party. But what I want to throw as a curveball is, it seems like there are different third parties that you guys think should be the third party. My question is, how are you going to make a viable third party when everyone who wants to make a third party is divided on which party it should be? Go ahead.
Well, that's why I already pointed out that the Libertarian Party is the only party that's already on the docket in all 50 states. So if you really just want to keep doing the same fucking legwork over and over and over because of a fucking label, then by God, you you're just gonna keep perpetuating the fucking problem because you're giving a fuck about the label instead of the fact that it is in fact a third party that's on the fucking ballot.
The reason why we have to do the legwork over and over and over again is because the Libertarian Party's been on the ballot for how many years and they fail miserably each and every time. The American people don't resonate.
Your ideology, they would have people say that they're throwing away their fucking
party.
Every time that you say that shit, you undercut any fucking possibility of there being something.
Here's the other
You
thing.
don't fucking understand the problem. You perpetuate the fucking problem, and you don't ever come up with a solution to actually fucking do the thing. That's the problem.
The Libertarian Party is
one at a time. This is fucking chaos. One at a time. One at a time.
Note, if you look at every major successful third party, either in Europe or Latin America, and there's been many that have risen to power. Shut the fuck up. There's been many that have risen to power.
I don't give a
over
fuck
the
about
past
Europe.
decade.
They don't
in
even
the
have the
age
same
of the
fucking
Hey,
governmental
Critical,
system.
let him finish. Jackson, finish.
There's been many third parties that have risen to power in Europe and in Latin America over the past decade, and they have done it in the age of the internet by utilizing the internet. And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Libertarian Party is not all that much of a social media savvy party. Nor is the Green Party, nor is the Peace and Freedom Party. We need a new party that resonates with the American public, that is built in the age of the internet and is focused on using that to their advantage.
Agreed. And if I could respond to Chris TV about
that. Shut up! Chris, Veteran, you can respond to Jackson, then Charmhole.
Yeah, you say this, and it still ends up being the same fucking legwork. What ends up defining what a party's politics is has everything to do with the actions that they start taking in the legislature, which is exactly why we end up talking about why it is that the Democrat and the Republican Party are two sides of the same fucking coin playing in the fucking middle.
Why has the Libertarian Party failed?
The fact of the matter is the Libertarian Party is the only one on the docket in all 50 states. You have to work inside the governmental systems.
Answer the question.
I am!
You're not.
Yeah, I am. You know what? I'm going to answer this fucking question so fucking hard you're going to hear for the next motherfucking year. You hear me? Now.
We can't hear you.
You see that? Dramatic pause for effect. I'm glad you understand, Jackson Hinkle. Right? Go take a tinkle and you'll get an education along the way. Now, the fact of the matter is that the Libertarian Party is the only party that is on the docket in all 50 fucking states. You have to go through the governmental systems to register your fucking party and do all of that fucking legwork. So, if the majority of the people that ended up populating the Libertarian Party, that has the ability to actually start to define what the Libertarian Party becomes. The same as the Democrat and Republican Party has been being defined by the very people and ideology that they have brought into the party, which is how we end up with rhinos and we end up with these other motherfuckers, right? So you want to sit here and start keep doing the same fucking work over and over, but the reality is that's just fucking excuses for not getting your ass up off the couch.
Bro, the Libertarian Party.
Anyway, so again, like if we're gonna create a
hey, everybody, one at a fucking time. Everybody, shut the fuck up. Yas can go, then Charmo, then Jackson can finally respond. Go ahead.
You keep talking about keep doing the same fucking legwork and saying that the same thing over and over again is insanity, bro. The Libertarian Party is literally the same thing. If they're just the fucking Democrat and Republican parties with less voters, that's literally the sad thing because they're bought out by corporate interests already. The Koch brothers already have fucking investments in the Libertarian Party. So that shit is like, it's like another bourgeois party that you think that we can infiltrate. But no, it's like, fuck that. Why would we want... Your nominee literally in 2016 was a former like governor, which was part of the two parties and literally didn't change anything about either of his ideologies. It's like, why the fuck would we want to vote for the same thing over and over again? It's like, it's not really a third party. It's just
because the reality is that the left and the right keep going further left and right, and at some point you're going to have a force that helps bring everybody back to the fucking middle.
The Libertarian Party isn't centrist, bro. Come on, like you can't.
The Libertarian Party doesn't really have any really like stringently defined fucking parts. I mean, it's kind of like a fucking soup, but just whatever the fuck is left over from people that aren't buying into the ideology that if you vote for a third party, you're throwing your vote away. So there's a lot of motherfuckers in that category.
But
So,
dude, the Libertarian
since
Party has
everybody-
extremely dare out like fucking policies that they're trying to advocate for, right? They are not the center between the Democrats and the Republicans, right? I mean, you can't believe that. Like,
I'm not saying that it is the center, but what I'm saying is that if you get more people to start to recognize the level of corruption that is in both the Democrat and the Republican Party,
in the
then
Libertarian
perhaps-
Party too.
Jesus fucking Christ, the level of it is not there. I wish you'd listen to all of the words that get used instead of just the ones that tick off that little clicker in your fucking ear, okay? Now, the level of corruption, because these two parties have been the longest running in American history, correct? Because the Republican Party only came around about the time of Lincoln, and he was the first Republican presidential candidate. So, we have these two parties. The level of corruption is in them is a lot more embedded than what it is in the Libertarian Party. And if that party can do nothing but rise up and destroy itself and end up bringing the two ideologies that are going more far left and more far right back to the center, that at least serves some purpose for the American people. But it's going to take the people to quit saying every time a third party gets brought up that it's just a fucking meme.
You are so cringe. It literally hurts me.
That is not an argument. That Charmel, that's not a
wrong,
fucking
and you are cringe. To my point earlier, right? Especially to respond to awesome Chris VT, right? So what we need is a digital party, a new party. Unironically, Kanye 2024. Make an NFT of Kanye. If you want a movement, if you want an actual third
Are you
party,
on
if you want
drugs,
to
Charmel?
really get things rolling, NFT Kanye 2024, get it moving. And the whole like, oh, but it's all digital. It's crypto is just passwords. That's it. If anybody is going to try to say, oh, crypto's money, NFTs are money, no. NFTs are cards. NFTs are just the little save file. So when you look at it, you
Yas,
go, oh,
let him
exactly,
finish.
right?
come on, bro. You're embarrassing yourself.
What does that have to do with the workers' movement?
Hey, Charmel, finish your fucking point. Yas, go, then Dario.
My only point is, again, if we need to make a party, we need a movement. How do you get a movement?
Wrap it the fuck
it's
up,
naturally
Charmel. You
hegemonic.
heard?
It's get a massive figurehead, NFT his ass, push it forward,
You said
and
your
have somebody
piece. We
whisper,
heard it.
hey, Communist Party 2024 Kanye.
Okay, Yas, what did you want to say?
What the fuck? I literally okay. Honestly, when you started rolling out the crypto take, I thought you were just trolling, but like that, like that was like that's the funniest thing you've said on stream. But like, actually, what the fuck? How is that helping the workers' movement at all?
Okay, so the issue.
How is it working?
Okay, Dario, go, then Charmhole responds, and then we are going to put a halt, and we're going to shift gears. Go ahead.
Okay, first off, yes, he was just trolling because he obviously doesn't know what crypto or NFTs are, right? He's just saying random shit. Okay, so what I just want to say is, if people are actually listening to what CTV is saying, right? And instead of just like looking at him through like your red eyes, like, oh, he's the enemy, right? CTV actually said some things that should be pretty agreeable for everybody who supports third parties on this panel, right? What he's saying is you need to actually, to some degree, put faith into third parties. Yes, the Libertarian Party or whatever, he's advocating for them, right? But in general, you need to put faith in them, and you need to try them and get on the ballot and work within the system to actually elect third party candidates, right? And that should be agreeable for everybody on here, right? And what I'm saying is, listen, if the Republicans can fucking elect fucking conspiracy QAnon Jewish space laser candidates, right?
Hey, rein it back.
There's nothing stopping you from electing a communist or whatever to the Democratic Party. You just need the support, and you need the systems to support that.
Come on, let Jackson go. Let Jackson go.
Okay. The thing that I think differentiates your opinions, everyone's opinions here versus my opinions on what we need in a third party is you need to have a third party that resonates with the policies that the American people support, and it needs to be free of corporate capture. Those two things are not true about the Libertarian Party, CTV. For example, you said that we need to stop doing the legwork and we just need to accept the fact that the Libertarian Party is already on ballots. Well, they've been on ballots. They're on 50 ballots plus DC, and they fucking failed every single time because no one resonates with them, because they have very, very, very niche stances on major issues. And then they also focus on weird fucking issues that no one cares about. So we needed a party that focuses on the core issues that the American public agrees upon and supports the policies that the majority of Americans agree upon on those issues, right? And I do think, let me finish. I let you go on your weird tangents and
you
shit.
asked me a question, I'm just answering.
And I'm not done yet. I
Okay.
do think
You still asked the question.
I don't even know if I asked you a question. I do think
You did. You
that
said right.
the People's Party is going to be that party because of the fact that they are not explicitly, progressive or explicitly conservative. They focus on a wide swath of the main issues that the American public care about. And they agree with the American public if you look at polling on those issues. And they're focusing on social media in the age of the internet. Many of the people involved with it, last thing I'm going to say, were the people who built the core of the Justice Democrats and were exiled from the group after it was co-opted by the Democratic Party. And they know what it takes to build a successful political movement.
Yeah, but the reality of where we're at is that the last 100 years of fucking history has led us to where we are now. The last 244 years of history, more specifically since the Civil War, has led us to where we are now. And the explosion of fucking government and the mishandling of it and lack of statesmen actually getting into office because the politicians have
we only have statesmen that govern this country. That's who governs this country.
I let you finish, didn't I?
Go.
So the majority of the things that have been happening has been politicians getting up and fucking grandstanding in front of the people saying, oh, if you elect me, I'm going to give you free fucking college. If you elect me, I'm going to give you free this, free that. We hear it every fucking election cycle. This shit hasn't fucking changed. So as us, as rational people sitting here on the ground that watch the Bernie crowd get fucking burned and sold out down the fucking road, right? Every other fucking crowd has been getting burned and sold down the fucking road at some fucking point. So you have to look at what's in front of you and then start to work with other people. That's the only way you ever get anything done is you've got to be able to communicate to the largest swath of people that is possible whenever it comes to trying to get something done. And if you are sitting here saying that
Like
the Libertarian
libertarian.
Party is just don't even fucking worry about it. Well, all the work that got done by people along the way to make sure that it's on the ballot in all 50 states and in DC, which is a lot of fucking work just to get the party registered so you can vote nationally with it, right? It's just silly to just throw it away instead of trying to get involved in all three fucking parties and figure out which fucking way you can actually fucking push things.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Hey, wait. Hold on. Everyone stop. Everyone shut up. Everyone shut up. One. Anna wanted to say something, then Jackson can respond to CTV for the final time, and then we're going to maybe have closing remarks on this topic, and we're going to shift gears. Anna, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'm not sure how you could actually make that type of huge change. I mean, wouldn't the same thing happen again, like what happened to the Justice Democrats? Wouldn't they just be co-opted again? Since the system. I mean, we still have money still kind of running the system. I mean, wouldn't the same thing just happen again? Or if we voted a communist in office or whatever, I don't know how that would really make a huge change. I guess. I'm skeptical.
So hold on, Anna. Just to be clear, are you responding to Dario's argument about putting them on the Democrat ticket?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Okay, Jackson, go ahead.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah, after Jackson.
CTV. So I've asked you 4 times now why you think, given the fact that the Libertarian Party has been on 50 ballots plus DC, that they've still failed, and you haven't been able to provide an answer to that. And the answer is because they focus on weird fucking issues, and the issues that they focus on that are resonate with the American public, they have weird takes on those issues or vague takes on those issues. Now, the other part of the problem with the Libertarian Party, and it's the reason why they're on 50 ballots plus DC, is because they're heavily funded by the Koch brothers, right? And that's one of the things that I said I don't want in a new third party, and I think the American people don't want in a new third party is major corporate money, big money in these elections and in these campaigns and shit. And the Libertarian Party, that's the only reason why they're on 50 ballots. It's not because their issues or their stances resonate with the American people.
Okay, so
all right,
then
hold on, Dario. Just to be clear about what I think Anna's saying, she's basically saying the Democratic Party has a corrupting influence on people who run on the ticket, and that how are you going to prevent that? So go ahead.
Yeah, so the way that you're going to prevent that is to build more support behind the candidates that you want, right? Because ultimately, what the elected officials do is that they represent the people, right? So if their priorities shift towards like playing politics or being corrupted or whatever, what is actually happening is most of the time that the people's opinions change, that they are represented, right? Their constituents' opinions change, because if they don't, well, then you vote them out next election, right?
Wait,
That's what you
wait,
can
hold
do.
on,
You can always
Dario.
take
I
them
don't
out.
want to get involved in this, but what would you say to people who say AOC has sold out, but her constituency don't give a shit and will still vote for her?
Well, I will say she hasn't sold out, right? What she's trying to do. Well,
That's a good one.
he's asking. He's
Just
asking,
saying.
right? So the difference is what we mean when we say sold out, right? So I will agree, right? AOC is playing more, as you would say, like she's playing more politics, right? She's doing more politics. She's building coalitions. She's building power, right? But what she's actually doing is that she's trying to push the American Congress and the American people to the left, right, from where it is, right? And now, obviously, she isn't doing enough, right? She isn't bringing them where we want, right? But she's trying to push them in the right direction with the power that she has, right? So ultimately, if that's what you want, well, you want candidates representing you that do these things, right? And if they aren't pushing the American people and the American Congress to the left, then you want to vote them out.
Wow.
All right. So
yeah,
Chris,
she's
all
garbage.
right. Here's what we're gonna do, Chris VT. I'm gonna let you have the last word on this, and then we're gonna vote for the next topic.
Oh, I got one thing. If
Okay,
we're going to go
ahead.
right to vote it,
Quick,
because you said the
quick, make
closing.
it quick.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna get closing statements.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, but it's okay if we're not. So I'll end mine with this. Chad, remember who is bringing you all the content? It's your man CTV. He's sitting here arguing on behalf of the Libertarian Party, right? Which I'm conservative. So here we go. Just remember that when you're voting.
Cope.
All right. Chris VT, closing remarks.
I want to say the main thing as somebody who's run a campaign before as a member of the Party of Communist USA, as a communist on the ballot, first time since the 90s, last year. The main thing is this: people do not know that there exists another option, and they have been lied to. Everything has been concealed from them. So much McCarthyism, so much of the deep state's work in trying to conceal the fact that they are the ones who have real power. Now, there is no way the Democrats or the Republicans are any vehicle for change. None. Both parties are not only corrupt, they're evil. Let me tell you one thing. I found the second Epstein Black Book. It was a Business Insider article.
All right, we can't dwell too much. We got to wrap it up.
But listen, the main thing is this: both parties are beyond the pale. They cannot be. We have to run third parties. We have to go to the masses. We have to talk to our neighbors. We got to talk to the farmers, the workers, everybody. And that means getting off your fucking computer, getting off your fucking cell phone, and getting out there and speaking to the masses. That's what you have to do.
I would buy your
NFT. Okay, all right. I'm gonna give you guys the opportunity, if you want, to have maybe a 1-minute closing remark. Then we're gonna vote and move on. So we're gonna start with Anna. You got a closing remark or no?
No, not really.
Okay, Charmhole, go ahead.
Digital Party 20.
We already heard that shit. Jackson, closing remark?
Closing remark is Democrats show no hope. AOC and the squad have been co-opted. The other third parties show no hope because the American people don't resonate with them. We need a new party in the age of the internet that focuses on the issues that the people care about.
Yas, you got a closing remark?
Invigorate the working class and vote for your local communist movements because those are the only people who will
Okay, mods, spam the link for the new poll about who we're gonna keep and not kick. Okay, mods? I'm gonna hover over their names so you guys know. Let's get it now. Go ahead, mods. Good. Now, we judges have been deliberating, and we've come to an awkward scenario. So I'm gonna release my vote. My vote's for Jackson. Henry, what's your vote?
My vote's gonna be for Dario.
And Luca, what's your vote?
My vote's gonna have to be for the veteran.
Okay, so we have never anticipated a three-way standoff, right? So we've thought about it, and what we're going to do in this scenario, right, because it's a three-way standoff, is we are going. So we see that the two in the bottom are currently Dario and Charmhole. But since Dario is voted by one of the judge members, we are actually going to save him from being eliminated. And because of that, because Jackson got the popular vote, Jackson is actually going to decide between Anna and Charmhole, who were 2 steps above Dario. So, Jackson, is it Charmhole or Anna who's going to be eliminated?
Person who is meeting their demise in the end of the stream is going to be Charmhole.
Rigged.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Vote for veteran again.
What a twist of events. Charmhole.
Vote for yeah. Okay, rigged.
Okay, Charmhole.
Pay your moderators.
Shut the fuck up. Shout yourself out and brief closing remarks.
Charmhole. Twitch TV. /Charmhole. Fuck the mods. Pay your moderators.
Charmhole, shut the fuck up. Closing remarks.
#Charmhole.
Closing remarks of any
Thank you
kind.
so much for having us. No, for real. I think this is hella successful, man.
All right, okay. Charmhole will be
it.
on the next panel. Charmhole, tell us how you felt about being on this.
Felt invigorated.
Okay, now we are moving into our lightning rounds. We're gonna pick up the pace. It's gotta get more heated, more intense, and the topics are gonna expire much sooner than before. We are talking 10 minutes or even less per topic. And this is going to be the final crescendo of the Gladiator Arena battle. And we're going to throw out the topics lightning speed, and it is a battle to the metaphorical death. You understand? Now, the topic we are going to watch you destroy each other over is climate change the singular most important political issue facing America and the world? Take it away.
No, it's not. And the reason why it's not is because the issue with climate change is just a build-on issue from something else. And the thing that is the actual issue is misinformation in the media. It's even if you want to say like the ruling class, the way that they control the people, the fact that people don't have enough agency in their lives to actually make decisions that matter. That's the actual issue, right? If you fix these things, if you fix misinformation, if you fix the mainstream media, if you fix alternative media, you can actually make meaningful change in terms of addressing climate change. But before you fix the overarching big issue, you're never going to change things like climate change. You're never going to change things like fucking healthcare. You're never going to make progress on anything.
Dario, you were almost there, but it's not that. It's capitalism. That's what it really is.
Capitalism.
That's the root.
Capitalism.
That's the root of all evil.
We
That's the
literally
shaitan.
fixed-
Come on.
We literally
The root's
fixed
not capitalism.
most of the-
None of the
It's
root of any of
capitalism.
these things that you lefties fucking say is capitalism. It never points to capitalism. What it points to, right, is an overreach of the government in deciding measures of currency that it was never intended to do to begin with.
Why are they
That's
overreaching?
where it all fucking
Why are
comes
they
from.
overreaching?
And then just continuing to think that you can just spend the fucking money into fucking oblivion, devalue the
Why are they
fucking
overreaching?
all
All right,
around to where,
the
like, we end
topic-
up with the inflation that
almost
we
The
there,
have.
topic is
Why are they
about
overreaching?
the topic is about climate change.
Opium.
Yeah.
Listen, climate change.
Are
is
we
not-
facing? Let me. Maybe I should clarify. Are we facing extinction?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 100% of it. You are. We are. Everybody here is. The Earth is. Right, but
Yeah.
the issue
Y'all are so
is that
fucking doomer peeled. We're not facing extinction,
We are.
right?
We're not facing
No, we're
extinction.
not.
We're facing-
Population
You're
is
like-
actually going
you're
down
just
because
being-
people aren't fucking as much. Like Jesus Christ,
we're
and one
not-
of these things that you need to be worried about is how much people are fucking. Okay,
We're
and
not-
since the
we're not
population's
even
going
concerned
down,
about that.
it has been for a
That's
while,
like
right? There's starting to be a
How-
little bit of a comeback now, but for a long fucking period of time, people haven't been fucking making the babies ever since the boomer generation. So population's
That's not even an actual problem. That
You
was
know-
a problem.
you know-
You're really bringing up a
That's because
fringe
of how
issue
fucked
that
up
happened
the
in
world
Japan
is.
like 5 years ago. Like that's nobody fucking cares about that. But like climate change,
Yeah, I know. Why would people bother fucking caring about all of the facts of a case? Consider we're talking about climate change, and this is an issue that would involve the entire fucking world, right? One of the things is actually fucking more heinous than climate change is probably the fact that our population has gotten so fucking high, and we have been overfishing the fucking oceans. We've been leaving tons of trash in the fucking oceans, right? That all plays a part to your climate change fucking deal, right? Watch what?
Capitalism.
Not because capitalism.
You're this close, bro. You're this close. It's just like literally like climate change is caused by corporate greed, and corporate greed is the main product of
people
capitalism.
gotta fucking eat, right? So you can't blame the fact that people gotta fucking eat on the system that allows for people to be able to trade things through currency versus bartering every fucking thing.
This is an extension of the conversation we already had.
Do you know how much is thrown away, how much waste there is in the system? An inefficient system that only cares about profits and not about people's
if there's anybody on this panel that is aware of the amount of waste that's in the federal system, is this fucking guy, to be sure.
It's this guy who feeds you, because I'm the farmer here. I got sheep, I got goats, I got pigs, I got cows. Where do you think all that stuff goes in the supermarket and then it goes in the trash if it's expired?
Yeah.
Instead of
You're-
going,
You're preaching to the choir here, brother. So the fact of the matter is, this is where I wouldn't. This is where
Go to a restaurant an hour after closing time, they're gonna throw away literally pounds and pounds of the fucking fish that people overfish. That's what capitalism is. It's like what Chris was saying like a few rounds ago about excess. We're living in a society that literally is just everything is excess.
The issue with the
Literally
capitalism.
illegal to like give homeless people that excess food in like a bunch of cities.
Sure, but the issue is
one at a time. Everybody, shut the fuck up.
They do donate that food to food
Everyone,
banks.
silence, silence, silence. Shut up. I'm talking. Shut up. I'm talking. One at a time. Veteran, finish your point. Then Dario. Then Yas. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of places that they take that wasted food and they do put it to good purposes. This is where if you're working inside your local community, you can start to see the kinds of changes that you want instead of sitting here bitching on a fucking panel about it and making a point that my fucking fifth grader could have fucking made, right? So like none of this, whatever you're talking about climate change, just to get it back on topic, is that one, I feel like that every single time when you start talking about what it is that someone considers climate change, right? Are we just talking about the burning of fossil fuels and the amount of CO2 gases that end up in the air? Because I remember growing up at a time where they were talking about the ozone layer all the fucking time, and we haven't been hearing about that. Why? Because we were able to fucking make changes, I suppose, right? So
recovered, the whole recovered, you dumb fuck.
Dumb fuck, right? Okay, so here's the deal. Since we and Jackson Hinkle hasn't done a fucking good job of explaining any part of what he meant by climate change, except he wasn't the one speaking yet because he was too unballsy to fucking jump in from the start. Dario fucking took it away. So climate change has a lot of different parts to it. There's actually parts where we are attempting to try to affect climate by putting more fucking gases in the air through a project that was happening in New Mexico. So like, at what point do you start looking at this thing as like the Earth itself goes through natural changes, and this has been proven through the recovery of ice cores in different parts of the fucking world, so that we understand how like volcanoes go off, it blocks out the sun here for a while. There's a whole lot of things to consider when it comes to this thing. Instead of just saying, oh, we need to have a hell of a lot more government subsidies to fund these fucking electric vehicles that are going to end up with diesel engines at the fucking pump site for them to be able to get fucking electricity out of it and into their fucking batteries, because they're backed up by fucking diesel engines. Has any of you bothered to fucking look at that? No, but that's a part of the infrastructure, so you can produce the electricity from the fucking battery.
Jesus Christ.
Calm down. Okay, so you said something about me. Let me just respond. You brought up the ozone, the hole in the ozone layer. The reason why that has it is reformed and we no longer have that problem is because we recognize that chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, are the major reason responsible for there being a hole in the ozone layer. We drastically reduce the amount of CFCs that we produce, and we put regulations on them. Therefore, the ozone layer was able to heal itself, right?
One of the biggest things that did that was a change in refrigerant carbons like R112, R114, and then over to R134.
Everybody, let's CTV go, and then Jackson.
Yeah, so that's where, like, my experience in the Navy, when I worked with the halocarbons that you're talking about, where we had COH2 burners there to pour them out of the fucking air, so it was safe for us to be able to breathe the air on the fucking boat, and we changed our systems from R114 over to R134 alpha because it was a safer fucking refrigerant to use. So there has been legislation that has been put into place in the military and the equipment that we operate that has not had those gases continue to go in the air. The same thing with leaded gasoline, right? There was a time where we had leaded gasoline, now we have unleaded gasoline. So, like, you're saying these things, and yet you haven't justified the billions and billions of dollars for these fucking wind turbines or electric cars or anything else.
No. So I'm just going to briefly address this, and then we're going to move on to the main argument I was going to put forward. You said there was a hole in the ozone layer. Now we don't hear about it. And you use that as an example surrounding climate change, as if like this is just going to be another thing that
and you assumed that I didn't know anything about it.
Let me finish talking. That we hear about as a crisis, and then it's just going to disappear on its own. When in fact, with the ozone layer, we addressed it through recognizing what the root causes for the depletion in the ozone layer were.
Hold on.
And you
one sec, Jack. I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to go pee very quickly. Henry and Luca, please take over the moderation. I'll be right back. I'm going to go pee.
You couldn't depend on him for a straw poll.
I'm not done yet, bro. Let me finish talking. You just acknowledged that in your own personal life, you saw how that policy played out in, solving the issue with the ozone layer. With climate change, we have three major industries: transportation, energy, and agriculture, which are the root causes of most of the emissions we see. The drastic increases in parts per million of greenhouse gases that we see in the atmosphere today, which are causing the dramatic increase in global temperature averages. So you say that we see like overall changes in climate over generations and over eras and shit, but like we're seeing such a dramatic increase in global temperature averages that is directly a result of the greenhouse gas emissions. So this is not something that's just going to go away on its own. We need to address it, and eliminating capitalism and replacing it with something that focuses on the social needs of the people is how we're going to address it.
Yeah, but the reality here is that whenever you just continue to, like, CO2 gases are inherently different from halogenated halocarbons, right?
So yes, and CFCs are what cause ozone depletion. Greenhouse gases are what causes the whole climate change.
Okay, so let's slow it down just a little bit. Okay, so there's a difference between halogenated halocarbons, right, and CO2. They are different at a molecular level because halogenated halocarbons start breaking down O3, which is your ozone layer, right? So, since we understand this, attempting to try to tackle the problem of CO2, which is something that is naturally produced in the environment on its own and captured by plants, right? We produce CO2. All animals on the fucking planet produce CO2, right? Cows and shits produce fucking methane and CO2, right? There's a whole lot of the shit in the fucking ground, in the air. It's fucking everywhere, right? The only way that you could begin to tackle this problem would be to start taking care of the oceans, because the oceans are the thing that end up cleaning up most of the fucking CO2 and helps mix it around. Like blue whales, for example, do a lot, right? Through their fucking diving up from the deep and coming up to the top to mix the fucking waters and help mix up the fucking phytoplankton that gets fucking made up on the surface and brings that shit back from the deep and up. That's how you can start being able to take care of these things. It's not tackling it with wind turbines that end up killing a large swath of bird populations, and it's not with these electric vehicles, which, while I think are a good idea as a niche thing, trying to put them out to the masses of people that still have jobs and everything else to do and to make it a hell of a lot harder for them to be able to move is not the best way moving forward.
So I didn't necessarily say, let me just finish addressing his point. I didn't necessarily say that wind turbines or
Dario goes next after Jackson.
All of our problems, but what you have to recognize, and I agree with you, the oceans are a big part of this, right? If you have a system that is focused on eliminating all of these carbon sinks that we do have, and by virtue of that, carbon then finds its way into the ocean and causes ocean acidification, and by virtue of that causes a whole host of other issues like the changing of ocean temperatures, which only exacerbates climate change. Those are all interconnected, and it stems from the same root cause of capitalism, right? So ocean acidification is a big issue, but it's due to the fact that you're removing all these other carbon sinks.
Okay, veteran, wrap it up quick, and then Dario's gonna go.
Yeah, so quick, right? It's not the system of capitalism is not the problem, right? Crony capitalism and spending money that you don't actually have is in fact the problem. Mismanagement of these things. And this is where I was talking earlier about the difference between statesmen and politicians. And that right there is where a lot of the root ends up coming into like how government can be used to enact a certain good rather than allowing the road to hell to be paved with good intentions.
Dario, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So I actually agree with both of you to some extent on like some of the things that you're saying, but the issue isn't really capitalism or socialism, communism, what you want to say, right? The overarching issue is that people do not have the ability to care about stuff like the climate, right? And the reason why they don't is because their basic necessities, their basic needs aren't being met, right? If you look at studies, you can see that over 50% of Americans wouldn't spend $1 a month to fight climate change. $1. Over 50% of Americans wouldn't. And why is that? Well, it's because they're living in a fucking consumerist nightmare, right? Because they constantly need new things. They're living in a system which perpetuates and allows them to do these things, right? That's the issue. The issue isn't, the issue is climate change, right? But the solution isn't to just focus on climate change advocacy, because if we did that, we would already be doing something about it, right? It's like one of the biggest issues whenever politicians speak. But why do people not care? It's because they don't have the things that they need in order to survive so that they can.
Hold on. Does anyone know where Chris VT went? Where did Chris VT go?
I don't know.
Where did he go? He's gone.
I think he said earlier that his disc. Oh wait, no, that was Charmwell.
Bro, I don't know. He strawmanned the fuck out of me, though. I didn't say anything about wind turbines. I didn't say anything about electric cars. That was a massive strawman.
Wait, what happened to Chris VT? Does anyone know where he went? The fuck?
I think he went to the bathroom.
Oh, he did?
No,
Wait, no,
CTV.
that's
CTV went to the bathroom.
No,
I'm
no.
talking about Chris
VT, the other guy.
Chris left the.
Two different people.
We're referring to me. Yeah, we're referring to me as the alpha wolf tonight, as per the last poll.
He just left? Did he just leave?
I liked him.
All right. Well, if you don't respond in 3 minutes, he's not allowed to come back. He left? All right, continue.
Yeah, sure. The issue is that people don't have their base necessities met, right? The issue is education. The issue is misinformation, the propaganda, all of these things. Well, listen, capitalism, right? To some degree, there are capitalist systems in place which make it so that you can't effectively deal with something like climate change, right? Because climate change or polluting or these things are an externality in the capitalist system, right? Which means that companies don't necessarily have to care about these things unless we make them care, right? Through stuff like the government, through stuff like mobilizing people, making sure that everybody is aware and holding companies accountable, right? This is the issue. The issue isn't climate change necessarily in itself. The issue is that we don't have an ability to mobilize people and give the power to the people to fight stuff like this, stuff like global disasters that they don't necessarily have to care about day to day.
Exactly, and that's why you need to end capitalism so that people's basic needs are met, and then they'll start caring about shit like the climate. And then on top of that, fuck the electric vehicles. Those are cringe. I agree with that part. But let's just have nationalized nuclear energy, something that is actually clean, and there's ways to dispose of it, and that can actually power a shit ton.
We are going to move on as soon as you finish your point. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, like the wind turbines, like okay, we get it. They're fucking noise pollution. I don't even care, but like we used like the USSR had fucking nationalized nuclear plants, and that shit powered so much even back then. So we just need them here in America, and that's my point.
Can I just say I like the person who's called No More Danes, please.
So guys, there is a person who left, Chris VT, who's on this poll. We didn't know he was gonna leave, so ignore him. And we are putting the poll now. Vote who do you want to keep, not kick, go. Okay, so I'm going to announce who I think performed the best. And I am voting for Dario. Henry, go ahead.
I think there was a pretty strong showing by the veteran this time, so I'm going to vote for him.
Luca. Now you're muted. You're muted.
I'm going to go ahead and agree with Henry. I think the veteran gave a strong showing. You guys need to get your shit together.
All right, now the veteran. So Chris VT's gone, and Dario was voted by one of the judges, which means Dario is immune. That leaves Yas and Anavoir. What is it going to be, veteran?
Well, I'm going to be honest. Anna, you're going to have to stay, honey. Yas, get your ass out of here, man.
Fatality for Yas! Unbelievable fatality! Yas,
Okay,
do you have any concluding remarks? Shout yourself out and give us your thoughts on Critical Thinking Veterans' brutal elimination.
Nah, I came for him pretty hard. But this was mad fun. And thanks everyone for letting me be here. You can find me at Twitch. Yeah, right. And it's spelled YAHRGHT. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to coming back. And yeah, the show was fun. Thanks, Haas, for hosting.
No problem. Looking forward to seeing you again sometime. Bye-bye, Yas. Okay. We are entering some dangerous territory. The crowd is getting thinner and thinner, and the rounds are going to last even shorter. We're looking at about less than 10 minutes. The next topic is which administration, given the so far in Biden's term, has been objectively more dangerous for America and humanity as a whole? Donald Trump's administration or Biden and Kamala? You can also give your thoughts on the future prospects, for example, of a Kamala presidency. Go ahead, everybody.
Oh, this is going to be real interesting listening to anybody on the left want to argue that during Donald Trump's presidency, where we had some of the best peace that we had across the world, right, versus Joe Biden's botched pullout out of Afghanistan. This is going to be hilarious. Y'all sit back and listen for the memes because it's going to be fucking great.
I actually want to hear from the communists on the panel. What do you think?
I might be the only communist left. Am I?
Okay, fair.
I think that
sometimes a communist. It just depends on the day of the week.
All right, Anna. Well, you give your 2 cents then. I feel like I've been talking a lot. You go.
I haven't been paying much attention to the Biden presidency, except that botched Afghanistan pullout though. That was pretty
And
bad.
she didn't even know about the Libertarian Party, y'all, but she knows about that shit. All right.
I don't know.
A woman would know about a pullout, right?
I still think Trump was worse. I still think Trump was worse though, because of like all of the racism and everything, like all of the how he incited
you say
racism.
Sure. Dario, go ahead.
Like right-wing violence, like the
Sure, I'll take it. So obviously, while I am by no means, oh shit, Jackson, I can hear myself.
You can
from your mic, yeah. I think it's better now. Okay. Yeah, obviously, I wasn't a big fan of Biden in general, right? I wasn't like Biden wasn't my candidate or whatever. I would struggle to find any arguments or any metrics by which Donald Trump's presidency would be any better than Biden's, right? Say what you will about Biden, but like the corona relief packages, the child tax credits, the deal that's currently getting passed, like all of these things, right? While these are not nearly enough and not what the American people need, it's at least moving in the right direction, right? It's giving the people some leniency in terms of dealing with COVID. It's trying to build up some infrastructure. While it is not enough, it is certainly better than what happened under Donald Trump. Under Donald Trump, the American people got absolutely nothing. You can say the pull out of Afghanistan, but that's just Biden finishing the job from what Donald Trump should have done, right? Donald Trump was a coward, didn't get it done. Biden got it done.
Except he did, right? We had the lowest unemployment across all spectrums, right, when it came to the people, right? Being able to get out there, get a job. Manufacturing was on the way back. We were cutting out cheap-made steel from fucking China. There was a whole lot of things that were going in the right direction. And frankly, since Biden's been in office, all these COVID relief packages that you're talking about, why are they not that much better? They're not that much better because Trump already set them up to begin with, and then that's where the American people had to start having a real conversation about the federalization of things and the things being controlled by the states. And thank God Donald Trump was fucking president, and we had governors like DeSantis, right, making the decision that like this decision when it comes to healthcare is still up to the individual, and then therefore not having to violate people's fucking HIPAA rights. You know, so like at every single turn, whenever it comes to like how Donald Trump's presidency would have been different if Joe Biden would have been in office, we would have saw a complete totalitarian regime come in and try to tell people that they have to have all of these things, yada, yada, yada. But since we're on so far on the back end of it and we're not in the crisis of the moment, they don't have the justification to be able to pull said power. But if they did, you damn right they would have had, because every single time that there's been an opportunity to do that, they've done that, and history has shown us that.
I'm going to say my words on this, and then I have to go pee. So let me just get out what I want to get out, and then I'm going to go pee. I think that Biden is objectively worse and has continued and expanded upon a lot of Trump's policies, and really important ones, in my opinion. He increased Trump's defense budget. He's not re-entering the Iran deal. He's increasing and expanding upon his immigration crisis at the border, and Kamala Harris.
You're damn right, he's expanding on it. He's making it fucking 10 times worse.
And I have to go pee. Let me just get this out, okay? Then you can talk all you want. He's illegally bombing Syria, Afghanistan, Somalia, Iraq, backing, bombings of targets in Yemen and Iranian proxies and shit. He's still selling weapons to the UAE and to Saudi Arabia and doing the naval blockade around Yemen, which is causing the largest mass famine in the world right now. He's increasing military aid to Israel, especially amid their assault on Gaza. He's continuing ICE deportations. He continued Trump's mandatory minimum drug sentencing policy. He didn't hold MBS accountable for the Jamal Khashoggi shit. He's placing new sanctions on Nicaragua, on Venezuela, on Cuba, on Syria. He's sending Green Berets to Mozambique. He issued 2,500 oil drilling permits on public land and tribal land during the first 2 or 6 months of his administration. This week, he's doing the largest offshore oil drilling auction in U.S. history. He completely botched Trump's Afghan peace deal and the pullout from Afghanistan.
Okay, why is this I gotta ask the question. You're naming off bullet points, but why is this auction of an offshore oil rig supposed to be a big deal?
More that I could go on the list, but I really have to
answer the question, right?
We have a turn. Hold on. We have a twist of we have a twist of events. Veteran now is coming to the defense of Biden. Go ahead.
I'll wait till Hinkle gets back.
Okay. Anyone else want to say anything until Jackson gets back?
Sure. So the issue is that you have to compare apples and apples, right? You can't compare apples to oranges, right? You can't say, well, these situations under Biden's presidency, Biden did a certain way, right? And you can't say Biden is worse than Trump because he continued stuff that Trump did, right? That's a non sequitur. That's an illogical statement, right? So if he's continuing things that Trump did, Biden isn't worse than Trump, right? At that point, he would be the same, right? So what you have to do is you have to compare policies that were passed that they advocated for, right? And if we're doing that, we can look at, well, what is the infrastructure bill? What is the executive decisions that Biden did, right, at the start of his presidency, which let trans people get back into the military, right? Something that Trump banned them from doing, right? So there's a bunch of stuff that Biden has done which moves the country in the correct direction, right? Now, that doesn't mean that Biden is doing everything right? And as Jackson pointed out...
Hold on, Dario, I don't mean to cut you off, but Jackson is back, and it is Veteran's turn, so...
So Jackson, since you got to go drain your lady hole, right? Let's get into this.
All right, rein it in. Rein it in a little bit. We can't say that.
What is this auction of an offshore oil rig supposed to be? Why is that a big deal?
Why is it a big deal, or why do I think it's a problem?
Big deal goes either fucking way, right? If I need to start explaining the English language to you, then we're going to have a different conversation, right? So why is it a big enough deal for me to sit here and listen to you rattle off 20 fucking bullet points, right? In which you think that I'm not going to sit here and scrutinize you on the fucking thing. So why is it a big fucking deal?
Well, smartass, it's a big deal because it is the largest auction in U.S. history. That's what most people would interpret. Your the answer to be what's the big deal of it. But the reason why I oppose it is because I don't think we should be focusing on more production of offshore drilling permits, because offshore drilling causes a ton of pollution in our oceans. We know that it's very risky. I would rather open up permits for oil drilling on public land than out on ocean, offshore oil drilling.
Right. So there's arguments for and against on both sides, but the fact of the matter is that Biden, since he's came in office,
1 minute left, and then we're moving on.
Yeah, Biden has done everything to increase the price of gasoline at the fucking pump right now. Right? Shutting down fucking oil production here, which we were an energy independent nation, and we are not now because of the shit that he's done since he's been in office. So you want to sit here and point out one thing, point out 20 fucking things, but the fact of the matter is that the everyday person is feeling the fucking strain on their wallet, putting gas in their fucking car. The prices of shit has gone up. Hell, just the fucking, this was one thing that was fucking amazing to me. My rear axle for my truck that I just replaced here recently, right, went up by $150 in 3 fucking months. Three fucking months, $150 fucking dollars, and they got a fucking thing to do, right, with it being a different material. It's got everything to do with the price of things, and the inflation is going up, and it's right there in front of the fucking people, and it has everything to do with the problem with this administration.
So I think yes, the Biden administration is objectively worse than Trump in many ways, and I wanted to lay those out.
I'm glad you agree with me. All right,
manner, because people are just operating in like vague debates. But here's what I'm going to say. Last thing I'll say. There's many reasons why we are in the inflation crisis we are in. Partially Biden's fault, but I think most people can recognize it's not just his administration that's causing this inflation crisis.
Okay, we are going to vote who to keep, not kick, so we can move to the next topic. I'm gonna give you guys a measly 1 minute to vote. Hurry up and fucking vote, everybody! The voting has concluded. Henry, what is your result?
Another W for the veteran.
Luca.
I'm going to say it's W for Dario this time.
I must say that I'm gonna be tipping it for the veteran, which means despite being in the bottom 2, Dario has been saved. But
does he keep getting away with it?
That means Jackson won the popular vote, which means he cannot be eliminated. And it seems that Anna... Is that fair? Veteran. I'm gonna let you choose between Dario and Anna.
Well,
do it.
I hear you. I hear you, right? And the fact of the matter is that there is a part of me that does, in fact, respect democracy. And when I'm looking at the votes here, and I just want to make sure I refresh one more time to see how many votes we got out here. We got a count of 41 to 26. So yeah, Dario, bro, it's democracy, man. Isn't that what you
live in
for?
a republic? We live in a republic, dude, not a democracy.
It's true, bro. But there's a vote, and the vote should matter. This is why CTV is, in fact, the people's champion.
Unbelievable!
Damn, what a plot twist.
Okay, Dario, you want to shout yourself out and give some concluding results?
Listen, I'm just surprised I actually made it this far in front of this crowd. I think I was the most unliked person in general from every single round. But hey, I'm here for it. Thank you very much for participating. It was fun. We had some decent discussions, I believe. So yeah, that's a win.
All right. Goodbye, Dario.
Thanks, Dario.
Oh, he left. Okay, now it is getting very, very dangerous. The first topic of the last... This is the second to last lightning round. It's getting heated and intense now. What system is better for America? Socialism or capitalism? Take it away.
Capitalism is obviously the best system for America because our system now operates with a certain amount of capitalism and a certain amount of socialism. So if you don't have the people producing the capital necessary to be able to collect it from taxes in order to be able to pay for the socialism, you don't have a system that's going to be able to pay for itself, which is why you have to have capitalism, right? And then through capitalism, you can then take that taxes that are earned and other monies given to charities or tithing in churches, et cetera, that can make its way back into the community, right? And then enact the type of socialism that you would want at some parts through government, through charities, through private organizations to be able to help out your local communities and your national communities.
I think I don't know. I think this topic's kind of dumb, but I think socialism obviously is better. I mean, if you look at like the modest social democratic reforms we've even had in this country, those are the only like popular things in this country. Medicare is the most popular public policy in this country, according to the American voters. And if you look at most of the New Deal reforms that were instituted, these modest social democratic reforms that were pushed in large part due to the socialists and communists that were advocating for much more, forceful and vigorous, socialist policies. Those are some of the most popular policies in American history that have ever been passed. Capitalism has caused the, massive amounts of wealth and income inequality that we see in this country. Capitalism, I think, is the reason why we are in the middle of this climate crisis that we are in the middle of. I don't even think we're living in a capitalist economy anymore, though. But yeah, I think socialism is better than capitalism.
Well, and the way you enter into a system that is far and away from capitalism is by having the government do far more than what the tax dollars that are coming in can actually be spent for. And then when you start making justifications for the expenditure of even more money, that's how you get into crony capitalism and the inherent corruption that can be there for human beings to exploit for their own personal gain. So, yeah, at some point, right, you're going to have to introduce a system that is better than the one that we have when it comes to free peoples being able to trade goods and services between themselves without having to have some type of governmental intervention.
Crony capitalism is just the natural course that capitalism takes. It's always going to end up in crony capitalism.
So then your solution to that, right, is just to control every single interaction, right? And that's how you end up losing things like privacy. That's how you lose your ability to enact or to have your part in the world without it being approved by someone else. And that right there, it comes to the crux of individual responsibility and individual liberty, because the individual is responsible to themselves for the actions that they take, not only against those closest to them, but to the broader communities.
Listen, I think the only way that you can achieve the highest virtue of individual liberty and individual freedoms and the the abundance of wealth and riches for the masses in this country is through socialism. I think if you look at the closest thing to a socialist country that you can find today, call it post-capitalist, call it socialist, call it communist, whatever you want to call it, China has been able to lift hundreds of millions of people out of poverty due to the socialist policies that they've instituted in the country. And they're not state capitalists, they are post-capitalist. The Soviet Union was able to achieve many increases in the standard of living for their people. They were able to achieve mass economic success for their country through instituting socialist policies. I just disagree with you. I think capitalism only hurts the people further, and socialism helps the people achieve mass wealth and individual liberties.
And except everything that you just said is antithetical to where we're sitting at right now in our current form of
You
history.
just have like a
right?
third grade understanding of socialism.
Oh, geez, here we go. Right. So we are sitting in the situation, even able to have this conversation because the United States and capitalism has brought forth the world's largest economy in world history. Right. We put in the
large four, and China's about to surpass us.
One more time.
Who's the economy, benefiting? Who's reaping the massive profits of our economy? And also, do you recognize that China is about to surpass our economy in terms of, GDP?
The fact of the matter is that it's not just the few that you should be worried about. It's everybody that's out here on the ground, and everybody that's out here on the ground is benefiting from what we have here in the United States. Because the fact of the matter is that the top 1% of the world is here in the United States if you make over $30,000 in a year. That's the top 1% of the world. Everybody else lives below that fucking line. So you want to sit here and sell me on China whenever I can sit here in the United States and know that we're the fucking bomb, right? America, fuck yeah.
Okay, well, you have to recognize, though, that prices for basic living necessities are set at different rates in different countries. So though we might be making more in USD, the average citizen in the United States might be making more per year than the rest of the world in US dollars. We also have to pay the most for our basic living necessities, in large part due to the massive amounts of privatization and corporate greed that we have in these industries that we need to meet our basic needs.
Oh, it's not just that. It has everything to do with the system itself, right? Over time, pushing up what it is like the minimum wage was going to be, right? As soon as they put that idea into place, it moved a whole bunch of times over fucking history to where it's now landed at $7.25, and it's been there for a fucking while, right? What has happened is you have had local municipalities, and there's quite a few in California that end up having a higher minimum wage for them and their constituents where they're at. And I'm all for that. If people want to get together and decide they want a higher minimum wage, then go for it. But the fact of the matter is that the same type of socialist policies or socialism that you're talking about, right, is the things that lead to what minimum wages are. And you want to sit here and complain about the very thing that your people would have put into fucking office. So give me a fucking break whenever I'm sitting here and I'm looking at you and I'm like, there's at no point I can take you serious.
This entire debate, you have just built straw man after straw man. Answer me this. Did I say that increasing the minimum wage is...
Did you say you were a communist?
I am a communist.
Thank you. So that I don't have to do much other than understand your ideology to understand that when the policies get put into place by government, that it follows your fucking ideology. If you want to have a conversation where I get to know Mr. Jackson Hinkle, feel free to come by the Wolf's Den, and I got no problem having that conversation with you. But when I'm sitting here on a panel and you are a self-identified communist, then guess what? I get to argue back against the ideology.
Again, I think you just don't understand what the ideology is, because there's nothing inherently socialist about even having a minimum wage or increasing the minimum wage. But if you would actually let me talk and explain myself, maybe I could have said that before you made a fool of yourself.
Except I didn't, and you still took that time to not explain the fucking thing.
We are actually going to vote. I told you these are lightning rounds, so these are very quick. So everybody vote who you want to keep, not kick, while the judges deliberate over the winner of the round. Closed. Well, this is interesting. The judges will give their decision. Now, after thinking about it, I am going to... Jackson's gone. What are you doing? Jackson, get the fuck back over here. I'm giving Jackson the W for that one. Henry, go ahead.
After much deliberation, I've decided that the veteran wins again.
Luca!
I'm going to once again side with Henry. I think the veteran made a good showing this time.
Unfortunately, that means, despite being neck and neck in the polls, Anna has been destroyed!
Thanks for having me on. It was fun.
And appreciate you being here, honey.
All right, Anna, shout yourself out. Give some closing remarks.
Oh yeah, I'm Anavoir on Twitch. I don't stream politics all the time. A lot of psychology and stuff. Yeah.
Final remarks.
I don't know what else to say.
How did the panel make you feel?
It was fun.
Any other feelings from the panel?
It made.
Now we are moving into our last and final round between Veteran and Jackson. Now the way this works is that the judges' vote must coalesce with the popular vote. So the judges will decide before we give out the link who we think won. If the popular vote contradicts the cons vote, we will have to go with the popular vote. Now, the heat is on. So, I am asking Henry and Luca to turn off their cameras. I will turn mine off as well. This is the final round of the Infrared Showdown. The winner of this round will have won the entire showdown all together. Now, although the topics are pre-selected, given the contestants and the nature of the debate before, we have decided that the topic will be the following. Given such vehement disagreement over the true third party, the question stands: which party will be better at succeeding in winning and becoming a viable third party for the American people? The People's Party or the Libertarian Party? Ready? Round.
Yes.
Fight!
So I don't know. Sorry. So I don't know what the People's Party is. There's a couple of ways that could be taken, but since the last election, the only two parties besides the Democrats and Republicans that were viable was the Libertarians and the Green Party. So like from there, you have to choose between these two, and the Green Party's not even on the ballot in all 50 states. So if you're trying to reinvent the wheel, then sure, go to another third party, go do all the legwork that it takes to get on the ballot in all 50 states and to start making a more legitimate party, right? Because the parties just are constituted of people and their ideas, and if the majority of the people that are a part of the party become different, that's when the ideology of the party changes. This is no different than what we've been seeing with the Democrats and Republicans for decades now, and there's no reason to think that the same thing isn't true with the Libertarian Party. So, you could go the route of like the Reform Party that we had back with Ross Perot in the 80s, and that ended up splitting the vote, or was it the 90s? Yeah. That ended up splitting the vote between Bill Clinton and Ross Perot, and so it's like reinvent the wheel, do Reform Party, do whatever label that you want, but the fact of the matter is, right, is that reinventing the wheel and trying to push for another party is just distracting the people from actually being able to get something done. If you want to get something done, you have to work with what's already on the table to work with, and try your best as an individual to have the type of impact that you want.
Look, I'm glad to be back from my energy hiatus. I just got some yogurt and oats in me. What I'm gonna say is the Libertarian Party has already had their chance. They've already had their chance year after year, and they have made fools of themselves. And the people understand that the Libertarian Party is funded by the Koch brothers. They have no clear ideology. They are vague on the important issues. They are specific on the niche, weird fucking issues that no one cares about. The People's Party, which you might be surprised by, yes, it is a party. Yes, they are rising in prominence. They haven't run any candidates yet. They're running their first round of candidates in the 2022 midterms. They are already raising more money than the Green Party, which is severely in debt. A lot of people don't know that. And they are focusing on the issues that the American people care about. They're not they're not primarily progressive. They're not primarily conservative. They have some views that are heterodoxical. And that is why they are going to win the American public. Unlike the fucking Libertarian Party, which is already on all 50 ballots and DC, and they have lost every single election at the national level. The People's Party will change that.
You know what's funny is that you had the perfect opportunity here to have a one-on-one conversation with me, and you started grandstanding like a fucking politician, which is the exact same thing that I've been pushing back against every single fucking time. Every single fucking time I've been pushing back against this ideology of just being politicians rather than statesmen. And when you have an opportunity to be able to speak to me in a private manner and actually let's get down to the root of things, what do? You fucking grandstand, and you are the very fucking thing that you say.
Hold on.
I've asked you 4 times a simple question. I've asked you 4 times a simple question. Why is it, if the Libertarian Party is already on all 50 ballots and DC, have they lost every single time? And you have not answered that fucking question the 4 times I asked you.
I have answered it every single time. And what I said is
no,
that people
you
like,
haven't.
oh, yes, I have. Yes, I have.
No.
Right? Just because you weren't listening doesn't mean I didn't answer it, right? So, since I did answer it, and the answer is because people like you and some of the others that were on the panel then, right, keep saying that the third party, right, is like you're just wasting your vote, and you said that. So because every time that you say that, right, you perpetuate it in the minds of people, and then they stop seeing a third party as being something viable. And as soon as people see something's not viable, it just becomes a meme thing, and then you end up with some of the candidates that the Libertarian Party has in fact had. But if you had more people start to get into the party, and you had more people start to legitimize this thing, then you start to see the kind of change that you want. Instead of just saying, it's a fucking meme, your vote's going to be wasted, etc., because the reality that we're in is that both parties are being driven further left and right because of a lot of the media that's been being covered and a lot of where the fucking politicians are.
I'm going to ask questions. This is the last round. So Jackson,
I have to respond to his bullshit. I have never.
Let me ask a question really quick. Just very quick. Do you have a reason for believing the Libertarian Party could not be viable?
Wait, are you asking me this?
Oh, he's definitely asking you that.
Do I have a reason why the Libertarian Party could not be viable?
Yes.
I think it's because of their platform. Yeah. I think it's because of their platform and the fact that they also acknowledge the fact that they do have corporate backing, which the American people do not agree with.
Now, veteran, many have made the claim that the Libertarian Party is not serious. What do you say to those who say it's not a serious party?
I would say that a lot of their doubt is grounded in fucking Gary Johnson's showing for the 2016 election. I mean, and then you go to their primary where you had McAfee and his paranoia, right? Frankly, and a lot of that has to do with what he does with internet security. So a lot of it has to do with the types of candidates that they're getting to push to the top to where they're running for these offices. And if you got more people involved, you'd end up getting a better quality of candidate that actually knows at least half of what is fucking going on. And instead of trying to be memey on the fucking camera, which I felt like he was doing, or just trying to, pander to certain groups of people, then you end up with like something better than what we got. Because if you don't end up trying to take the ideology from being so far left and so far right and to try to bring it back to the middle, you're going to end up creating the divide that causes the balkanization of the country. And that's not frankly good for anyone. And we need to be trying to figure out ways to where we can stay together versus being broken apart. And these two parties have done a good job of just fucking driving people to one side or the other instead of being able to say, well, you know what? I'm with you on the middle here. And this is where like I'm really thankful that we have Twitch politics and YouTube and other political streamers getting out there and actually talking about the issue so that we can really start to get into the nitty-gritty of these things.
Sam. Okay. Do I get to respond or what?
Yes, of course.
All right, so First of all, I've tried to be very nice to you throughout the entirety of this debate, and I don't think that's been reciprocated. But anyways, I do think that the reason why you're having this problem, like you can't recognize the problem, and you say we just need to get more people involved in the Libertarian Party. It's not because people are writing it off as cringe or a meme for any such reason. In fact, I voted for a third party that you've listed that many people, kind of say is cringe or meme, and that's the Green Party. I voted for them in 2020. But it's not because they're just cringe or a meme for no reason. The reason is because of their platform. If you look at the Libertarian Party's website, I'm not talking about like the culture surrounding any such one politician. They're vague on really important issues, which I think is a problem. I think it is a problem. And,
like what issue?
Abortion, for example. I think that's a problem.
Okay.
I think
How are
really
they vague
on abortion? They say that it's basically like it should be a personal issue, and they don't really take a stance on it.
Okay, so you don't think that it's not a personal issue that one needs to solve?
What the fuck does that mean?
Well, what do you think it means?
It means something different to every person. That's why I'm saying, like, when you have vague
So when I'm
stances-
asking you the question, what does it mean to you? Then the logical thing to do is answer the question,
not a
right?
policy, though. That's not a policy, or
I
that's
realize
not
it's not a
upholding
policy.
the law of the land.
Before we don't want to make this about abortion, I have to ask a question: does the Libertarian Party, what is its agenda for America?
You read their website, right? So tell us.
I did not read the website.
Oh no, not you, Haas. I'm talking to Jackson here. I'm
You're
trying
the
to be
libertarian.
respectful. I'm trying to be respectful now, right? And let him flex
Well,
his
veteran,
mental
I
knowledge
wanted
on
to ask
everything.
you because you know more about it.
Oh, well, a lot of the libertarians, they're definitely for individual rights and individual responsibility, self-ownership, expression and communications. Now, the cringiest thing that they have is the open border stuff. For me as a conservative, I can't get on board with that. But they're down with self-defense. They're down with property. Making sure that people have, the rights to their own property. When I say down, I just want to make sure I'm being clear. So they are for self-defense. They're for private property. They have a good eye on the environment and trying to make sure that the types of regulations that we put in place actually go to help the environment. So there's quite a few things that the Libertarian Party is in fact doing, and they are getting on not just federal seats, but they are getting involved in state legislatures too. Like in North Carolina, the Libertarian Party is running and actually starting to put people from districts from the Libertarian Party into the state legislatures. And if you're really wanting to legitimize a party, not necessarily pushing it at the federal level, but getting involved at your local scene and pushing and taking a real look. And Jackson, you actually spoke to this earlier about why why they delegitimize the Libertarian Party is because it ends up impacting all the way back at the local level, right? So I know you understand that. So like from there, that's why you have to push the idea that the third party is viable because it is on the docket in all 50 states, and you can have candidates from different districts inside of a state to run for state legislature.
We gotta cut. All right, so Jackson, what do you know anything about what is People's Party's plan for what's its agenda for the future?
Like its platform?
Yeah.
Well, its platform it resonates with the majority of the American people, because if you go issue by issue on each policy that the People's Party stands for, they usually line up, and you can't say the same about the Libertarian Party. So they support strengthening unions, they support Medicare for all, they support an economic bill of rights, they support ending the imperialist wars, they support focusing on like the climate crisis, not through like reducing consumerism, but investing in the infrastructure that we need to improve this country with in a sustainable and green way. They focus on defending our civil liberties. That's a really big thing. Defending Julian Assange, abolishing student loan debt, free public tuition, guaranteeing housing as a human right. Those are all things that the American people resonate with. And again, if you look issue by issue, I'm sure we could go down more and more of them if you were on their website. But those are what the American people resonate with. And same could not be said
my
about the
question for
Libertarian
both
Party.
of you is that we are facing changes in the future. Is it important for a party to have a plan for the future, or is it more important to safeguard and secure liberties and rights? Which is more important? Starting with veteran. We have to make it quick, though, because we can't make this go on too long.
Yeah, no worries. To me, it's obviously most important for the government to be watching out for you, the individual, and me, the individual, more so than anything else. Because if they're taking care of the individual, then they will inherently take care of everyone, right? So this is where I think that the Libertarian Party, being where it's at, being established as it is, right, not wanting to have, and it says right here, 2.3 energies and resources on the website. While energy is needed to fuel a modern society, government should not be subsidizing any particular form of energy. And I would agree with that, right? I don't think the government needs to be subsidizing a lot of these things, and the market is what needs to be taking it with regard to energy, because what we've seen.
All right, okay, we gotta rein it back. All right, Jackson, what about you?
I guess I kind of just disagree with the premise of the question, because I think that the Democrats and Republicans have eroded our civil liberties so much so to the point that without a plan, like a feasible plan to restore those civil liberties and our privacy rights, we don't have anything worth, we do have things worth defending, but we need to improve upon and defend our civil liberties through a substantive plan. I mean, Democrats and Republicans have made the U.S. the most surveilled country in the entire globe. Like
ending the drug
So
war, right?
if I understand you correctly, you're saying even if we want to defend the civil liberties that the libertarians talk about, we need a plan of action.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you guys to give your closing remarks, and we are going to wrap this up and choose a winner. So first, CTV, we got a 2-minute closing remarks.
All right, so it's obvious, like, if I'm assuming closings have to do with the specific topic at hand?
Yes.
Okay, good. So it's obvious that the Libertarian Party is the only viable third party because it is on the ballot in all 50 states. That's very, very important. Being able to elect legislatures to enact shit in your own state, very fucking important. It's not a meme. Now, from there, if you understand how you end up into a lot of the problems that we're at, you'll see that the ideology of both parties, Democrat and Republican, have driven so far to the left and right that you don't have a middle. The middle is where the people can come together, because libertarians do believe in individual rights. They believe in property. They believe in the things that you care the most about, and keeping the cost down for government so that it's not encumbering the future generations with the amount of debt that has been typical for the last 100 fucking years. So instead of it just being a meme, right, or trying to find a new fucking label because it takes so fucking long to do these things, start using the parties that you have here, start learning about it so that you as a voter out there can be educated in what's going on, not only on the left and on the right, as delineated by Democrat and Republican, but find out what's going on in the somewhat middle with the Libertarian Party, because that's the only other choice that we the people have now, and we got some real fucking problems that we need to solve now, and we don't have time to wait for people on the ground to put another fucking party in the ballot and do all the work that's already been there again, because we do have some shit to get done.
We're good. Okay, Jackson, closing remarks.
The Libertarian Party is cringe and is in fact a meme because of the fact that they do not have a substantive agenda on the issues that matter most to the people of this country, and they instead choose to prioritize their energy, efforts, and resources on weird niche issues that no one really cares about, right? And that's where the People's Party differs from the Libertarian Party, and I would also argue from the Green Party, in terms of listening not just to fringe environmental leftists, but also to the entirety of this country. As I listed already, the People's Party, is focused on a number of meat and potato issues that the overwhelming majority of Americans agree with. They do have the institutional knowledge of what it takes to build a successful political movement in the 21st century. And that means utilizing the internet to its advantage. And that is something that the Libertarian Party is not doing, and that is something that the Green Party is not doing. But I do think there's an opening for the People's Party to do that.
Okay, everyone, we are now going to vote for the final champion. And remember, before we do that, the judges are going to announce who they consider to be the winner of the round. So, first, we are going to go with Henry's vote. Go ahead, Henry. Cam up.
Oh, yeah. 1 sec.
Cam up.
You two have done the Coliseum a great service, but there can only be one champion. Jackson Hinkle!
Luca?
I'm gonna split from my comrade Henry here and say that I really value the presence of the critical veteran on our show, and I'm gonna say that he gets the win.
Now, before I announce my vote, we will take 1 minute of silence to honor all the guests that have lost their metaphorical lives coming on the show. Fucking broken again. I can't fucking believe this. I cannot fucking believe this. It's actually a broken one again. Mods, can you please make a working poll? I don't know what the fuck is going on. We have another broken ass fucking poll, and I have no idea what's going on. I am absolutely fucking aghast. I am absolutely fucking aghast. I am absolutely fucking shocked. New one, 2 minutes. Let's go. Vote on this fucking new one. And I honestly thought that Dylan's chat might tip it. I actually was getting worried, but as someone who voted for Jackson, but as we can see, with a total of 555 votes, Jackson has won. Now, I must say,
where are you seeing 555?
566, 567. I'm auto refreshing it.
Yeah, I'm auto refreshing it too, and I've got 324.
What?
Yeah, I got
It's
it showing up.
It's talking about the total votes, not just Jackson votes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Total
I got
votes.
you. Okay.
Yeah. So here's what I have to say. CTV, you did very well, especially in this chat and in this community, which is, we are politically communists. We are Marxist-Leninists. So you did very, very well, given those circumstances. And, it was tough because you have a lot of energy. And although I agree with Jackson myself, you performed very, very well. We were very impressed with your performance. So I just wanted to say that. And, I want you to go ahead and shout out your, give us your thoughts. Give us your thoughts on the panel. Shout yourself out and, tell us what you thought.
Good show.
All right. So where can we find you?
www.twitch.tv/critically-thinking-veteran. You'll find me in the Wolf's Den. And
All
on
right.
the Hippy Dippy podcast, CTV out.
Okay. He's out. So Jackson, tell us about how you feel about this incredible victory. We had about, 12 people here, and you came out the last person standing.
Can't wrinkle the
You were
Hinkle.
overwhelmingly you were the people's champion. The chat kept voting you the top. If it was a democracy, you would have won every round.
Listen, all I can say is I'm looking forward to when we get some real competition on this show. I mean, I think the fact that there was over 1K viewers on this the
Jackson
entire
W,
time
great
shows
show.
that there is clout here for the clout demons, and I'm ready for some real competition. So, whenever they're ready, if they're not bitches, they're more than welcome to come on the show.
Damn, those are fighting words for next contestants. Henry and Luca, give us some of your thoughts.
I thought we had a pretty good cast here. It was always polarizing. There was always at least one other person on the other side. In the future, I think we're gonna keep getting some interesting names on here. I was really impressed with Jackson's performance. Really, really solid showing in each round. You did a really good job.
Thank you.
I think the biggest thing is that people, everyone that came on primarily in good faith, and that shocks me on the internet. That shocks me on Twitch. There was some good faith disputing, even if people accuse each other of being cretins. There was still solid good faith conversation, and that'll keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Wait. Thank you guys for putting this on, by the way. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely no problem. So Jackson is definitely going to be returning. As of now, Jackson is the reigning champion of the Infrared Showdown. And because of that, I have a gift I actually want to present Jackson as the current champion of the Infrared Showdown. Give me one moment. Custom-made belt for the Infrared Showdown. It's the Infrared Showdown belt of victors. Now we keep it plain and simple because we don't need it to be very ornate because we're like the Mongols. It's like we're very simple people here. We don't have all this ornate stuff, but this is the belt that Jackson has won. And if anyone wants this belt, right? It's currently belonging to Jackson. Any challengers want this belt, you come and get it next week because let me tell you what, it's up for the taking. Now, believe it or not, I know it seems like a coincidence. It's really not. I'm not even joking. Jackson actually won this. You can win it too. Now, one of the things I want to say, open challenge, we did not have a lot of right-wing or conservative voices on this panel. CTV was the only one. He did very well holding his own. We would want more people from Twitch who can follow Twitch's rules or otherwise to give it a shot. Give it a shot. We want to have more diversity next time, right? And I look forward to the next show. It's only going to go up from here. We're going to have more preparation involved. We're going to have more formatting involved. And I look forward to the future of the Infrared Showdown. Let me put this belt away and package it to ship to Jackson. He is the current owner of the belt. If you want to come and get it next week. You understand?
Such an honor. Such an honor. Such a beautiful belt.
You have to wear it to the next one.
All right, guys. Jackson, where can we find you? And I'm going to be rating you when I'm going to probably stream for another 30 minutes to an hour, and then I'm going to be rating you. So shout yourself out.
Jackson Hinkle TV. Thank you.
Are you gonna still be live or?
Yeah, I'll be live.
Okay, for sure. All right, you can find him at twitch.tv/ what is it?
Jackson Hinkle TV.
Jackson Hinkle TV. All right, see you later, man.
Peace.
Peace, man.
All right, bye, guys.
All right, later.
All right. Put this up here.